Hello, everyone. Hello, shoppers. Welcome to the mall. So, today's gonna be a bit of a shorter stream. I am going to see a movie tonight. I want to leave kind of early to do so. So, yeah, I'll probably be looking to end before 5:30 p.m. my time. So, yeah, we don't have very long. Let me go pull up a playlist. Alright. Let me turn this off. So, today... Camera still seems to be jittering. Whoops. And that'll make it worse. Alright. There might be slight vibration. That's fine. %70 should be fine. Alright, so... we're doing something a little different today, as you can see. I have, right in front of me, you know, if you couldn't tell already, the Jade Falcon Sourcebook for BattleTech. This is the original by FASA Corporation. I don't know why I say original. I don't think they ever made like a new version of this. Ever. I don't think Catalyst did. This is from 1992. So this is still pretty early in like the clan lore. I think I need to turn the music down a little further for me. Maybe even a little further. There we go. So, yeah, product number 1644. I think it also says that on the spine. Yep. So, yeah, this is classic BattleTech. I don't know where I got this. I may have gotten this from Bookman's, maybe? Which is it's a local used bookstore. Well, used books and games and stuff, music. You can get a lot of stuff at Bookman's. I did take the sticker off because it was covering up part of the logo. It was like 8 or 13 bucks. Not bad. I also have a bunch of other vintage FASA Corporation books, although I think they're all technical readouts. I want to like read through my BattleTech books on stream someday. I've also got vintage FASA era Shadowrun books. Those would probably be more interesting. I don't know, you know, maybe the next time I do a stream like this, I might read the Street Samurai catalog from like what was it, like 2nd edition Shadowrun? Anyways. It's kind of hard to fit the whole thing in frame here. It's impossible to fit it in frame, in fact. I mean, I guess I could try pulling out... Also, the dang... my dang light is, like, glaring. I guess I can do that. I was gonna, like, loosen my camera mount, but I don't need to do that. Also, please observe the rear cover. Incredible art. Fucking incredible. I don't know why it's jiggling so much. Oh, wait, I know why. 1 second. I know why it's I know why the image is jiggling so much. Oop. It's because of the cable. Uh-oh. Oh, ooh. Okay, I guess we'll do that. Oh, that reminds me. By the way, I had to rearrange my PC. I had to rearrange my PC a bunch. Or, I don't know, let me start over. Let me start over with that sentence. I had to rearrange things with my computer yesterday, because, like, I figured, like... Well, let me back up a bit. So, like, part of the reason why I haven't quite gone back to daily driving Linux is because, like, the PC I have is, like, it doesn't have a GPU. The only display output it has is HDMI, and, like, I was previously using the HDMI ports on my main monitor in front of me. I was previously using that for both the streaming PC and the gaming PC. But I realized I could just switch the stream PC to use the DisplayPort on this monitor here. So I did that, but I did find out that the DisplayPort cable I have is not quite long enough. So I had to, like, shove the stream PC, like, way closer to me. It's a little cramped over here, but it works now. I have to, like, take a day off to, like... I'm gonna have to, like, set aside a day to, like, try and route my cabling better. It's pretty unsightly, I'll admit. Yeah, so now I can use my dang Linux PC without having to rearrange HDMI cables, without having to, like, shuffle things around. So that's good. But I did have to, like... Do let me know if you hear fan noise, because my PC is now a lot closer to my microphone. I actually had to, like... There's, like, a giant front fan. There's a giant, like, frontal fan in the front of the stream PC case. I had to unplug that. I unplugged that last night just in case. Because, like, it is noticeably noisy. Well, not noisy per se, but you can hear the air move. Anyways. Back to this. Things are a little cattywampus, I can tell. I guess we'll do that. That works. Ooh. Oh, this does remind me, actually, before we continue. So yeah, I'm going to the movie theater tonight. It's in kind of a mall area of sorts. It's a shopping district. It's in a shopping district. And I believe the one I'm going to, there's a Barnes & Noble's not too far from the theater. Literally within walking distance of the theater. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go to that B&N before the movie. Yes. I have my ticket already. I'm gonna go to that B&N before the movie, and I'm gonna probably buy a couple things. Probably like a couple Gundam manga. And I'm gonna see if I can get one of those B&N exclusive BattleTech Force Packs. I kinda want the Wolf's Dragoon Assault Star. I hope they have it. I hope they have those, either of those. God. Oh yeah, and right, in the movie I'm seeing... Well, technically it's a double feature, actually. Excuse any stains or any other marks on my desk mat. So what I'm seeing tonight is... It's a double feature. First up is, Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans Urder Hunt, which I don't know much about that. I think that's like... I think it's like a tie-in animation they made for like a mobile game. I think it's something kind of complicated, but hey, it's being shown subtitled, also being shown subtitled, and the reason why I'm going Gundam Wing Endless Waltz remastered in 4K. So yeah, it's gonna be a mecha kind of night. Yeah, this thing's a little damaged. Anyways, yeah, back to the book. Take a look at this glorious piece of art. You know, here, let me crank the brightness up a little. Let me crank the brightness way up. I'll turn it back down later. Ooh. Sorry, the image jitters when I touch things that the camera is connected to. Oh, that might be too bright. I mean, I think you can see it anyways. We have this man screaming because he's, I guess because he's supposed to be being attacked by this Jade Falcon elemental. That's what's happening in this. It's hard not to look at. It's hard not to look at this and not hear this sound in your head, or it's hard for me to. It's hard for. Let me try that again. It's hard for me to look at this and not hear the sound in my head. Ugh. Anyways, let's read the back blurb. I may have to zoom this in a bit. All right, let's see. 1.75, not bad. The Jade Falcon Sourcebook. I also may have to adjust the focus here. That doesn't look right. This looks kind of dithered. The Jade Falcon Sourcebook provides a complete overview of the deadly Jade Falcons, one of the premier clans. Falcon history, culture, and military capabilities are explored. The Jade Falcon Sourcebook also includes profiles of prominent clan personalities, information on 4 deadly new battle mechs, an overview of Jade Falcon occupied worlds, and 8 full-color pages featuring renderings of Jade Falcon uniforms and examples of clan camouflage. A must for any BattleTech fan. As you can see, for use with BattleTech, the tabletop game. And, yeah, don't worry, there will be mech profiles. But first, let's crack it open. I don't know. I may have to like pull the camera out a little, move it up. Jade Falcon Sourcebook, FASA Corporation, 1992. Oh wait, I can't move the camera up because the hold on. Maybe, hold on. Oh, I don't want to see, I don't want to show that. Yeah, you saw my frog. Can I tighten this up? Oh, no, that's loosening it. Well, let me loosen this first. Oh, I can't crank that over any further anyways. Oops. My bad. Okay, we'll just have to leave it at this. That's unfortunately the best I can do. Oops. Accidentally bumped my mic too. Alright, no, I think I got cattywampus again. Okay. We'll have to deal with it. I'll just move it up and down, I guess. Contents. Or sorry, content. The S is a little too... The S is really close to the spine there. I get a good look. We're gonna be moving kind of quickly here. Maybe I can increase the brightness just a smid, one more notch. There we go. That's almost too bright, but and check that out. Art of the Stone Rhino. Toss this other mouse over here. We have, so yeah, we've got a Timberwolf and a Stone Rhino. And over here looks like an Inner Sphere standard battle armor. This is by someone called Nelson. Let me see. Does it have the artist credits over here? No. Oh, I forgot. Hold on, before we continue. Let me zoom this in. I want to zoom this in for you. Oh. BattleTech, Mech, BattleMech, and MechWarrior are registered trademarks of FASA Corporation. Jade Falcon Clan Sourcebook is a trademark of FASA Corporation. But oh wait, no. Yeah, the more important part is FASA Corporation can be reached on America Online, email, FASA-Lu for Earth Dawn, FASA Info for BattleTech, Shadowrun, and general information, or FASA art comments. In the online gaming area, keyword gaming. Via internet, use AOL account name at AOL.com, but please, don't list their server subscriptions. Thanks. Visit FASA on the World Wide Web. Unfortunately, we can't do that anymore, I don't think. Okay. Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter too much how I frame this. I have to, like, zoom this in no matter what. You know, maybe I'll turn autofocus back on. Let's go to 2.02x it is. Real quick, I gotta itch my nose again. Ah. Comstar classified report. Sanctum level clearance. BOP 613 DTC. I don't know why I'm looking at the monitor. Man, good thing I moved the camera around. It'd be kind of hard for me to... Yeah, my microphone's actually kind of in the way right now. Whoop, hold on. I'm gonna pull it down even further. Oh, well, I'm gonna start hitting it. Yeah, there's no winning. Unless... hold on, I'm trying to weigh down the other page here. Okay. Real quick, I'm just gonna fiddle with my pop filter. One second, everyone. Might hear things be a little weird. Okay. This might work. Yeah, okay, that's a lot. I think that's a lot better. Whoops. From Anastasius Vogt, 3 Center Marshal of the Comm Guards, Hilton Head Island, Terra. 2. Cadets of the Sandhurst Royal Military Academy, Terra. Hold on, let me... Sorry, everyone, just fiddling with things. 15th of March, 3053. So yeah, this is post... interesting though, like, yeah, in 1992, we're already, like, post-Tukayid. I mean, I guess the I guess a lot of the clan invasion already happened in, like, 1990. A lot of that lore was already put down by 1990. In 1991. Greetings to the warriors of Blake's True Vision. This report provides the best possible information on Clan Jade Falcon, the proven enemy of any who dare stand between them and their dream of a Star League reborn. This clan came within an elemental's jump of forever crippling the Inner Sphere's strongest military, yet fell to its own idea of honor. The Falcons displayed tactical genius onto Kaid, but failed to achieve victory because of strategic short-sightedness. Yep. Despite its failings, Clan Jade Falcon, Avengers of the Chevalier, Followers of Takina, and Grand Protectors of the Cameron Legacy, nonetheless proved to be one of the fiercest clans in the invasion. The general history of the clans, the overall structure of their caste-driven society, and their military organization appears in the information I provided in the previous report on Clan Wolf. Alas, I don't have the Wolf Clan Sourcebook. I kinda wish I did. If you remain ignorant of the ways of the clans, I strongly suggest you seek out a copy of that report. The wealth of information available about Clan Jade Falcon comes almost entirely from the crew of the Outbound Light, one of our jump ships assigned to mapping the stars. Outbound Light's 3-year voyage ended abruptly when the ship jumped into an unexplored star system and encountered the clans. The star system, known as Huntress, belongs to clans Smoke Jaguar and Jade Falcon. The Outbound Light's unexpected appearance must have persuaded those clans that it was time to make their dream of a Star League reborn a reality. One second, everyone. My nose is really itching really badly. I tried moisturizing, too. Ugh. Very distracting. The clan's street of the crew, commanded by Rom Precentor Arbel Bradford as guests. The Smoke Jaguar Khans apparently wanted to glean as much information on the current situation in the Inner Sphere as possible from the crew, and wisely decided to do so by gaining their confidence instead of picking their brains by chemical persuasion. That might not necessarily be the case. I'm not sure, or at least I remember, like, there was a short story accompanying MechWarrior 5 Clans where it's like, no, yeah, they did chemically interrogate one of the Comstar crew. I mean, to be fair though, that was for MechWarrior 5 Clans. The games usually have an apocryphal view of the lore. Plus, also, this source book is old. This might be outdated info. Let's see, where was I? There it was. Placing very few restrictions on their liberty. The clans allowed the crew to travel to towns, factories, and military installations on Huntress and other clan worlds. The report of these experiences provided valuable insights into clan society, particularly the structures of clans Jade Falcon and Smoke Jaguar. This treatment also allowed the ship's crew to become comfortable enough with their hosts to talk freely about their work and lives. And to gossip about the political environment in the Inner Sphere. Even without revealing military information, the crew of the Outbound Light provided a clearer picture of the clans of what to expect in the Inner Sphere than all their probing missions, including Wolf's Dragoons, put together. Not surprisingly, the crew of the Outbound Light returned to the Inner Sphere with no idea of the location of the clan homeworlds. Before sending them home, clan scientists put the crew members through an electrochemical procedure designed to erase all memories of their trip to Huntress. Brutally effective inhibitors block every attempt our scientists have made to reconstruct the crew members' memories and gain information that could lead us back to the clan worlds. In fact, most of the explorer ship crew can no longer even travel comfortably in a jump ship. Jeez. That's kind of screwed up. We must all continue to study the clan so that the sacrifice made by all who died on Tukayid and on other worlds defending the inner sphere will not be in vain. The truce between Comstar and the clans will end in 15 years. At present, the inner sphere and the clans are too exhausted militarily and at such a low level of morale that both are incapable of mounting any type of campaign. But the clans will not repeat their mistakes when they resume their assault. And Comstar and the other inner sphere warriors must prepare to stand against a stronger and wiser clan. When that day arrives, the warriors of Clan Jade Falcon will be at the forefront, eager to erase the memory of their defeats and prove that theirs is the better way. While all your leaders heed one of the basic tenets of military strategy, know your enemy, will determine whether they triumph or fail. So yeah, this is a thing with a lot of BattleTech source books for those who are new. You tend to have these introductions which are like from the POV of a faction. You know, something like the intelligence wing of a faction. Or just, or like from the POV of Comstar. Hold on. Ugh. Oh my god. Well, we got cool art. I can show you as soon as my nose stops itching. Oh. Alright, whoop. Okay, well now the pop filter's kind of in my way. Again. Ugh. If it's not in the way in one way, it's in the way in another way. I get my way, get out my way. Switch my plates, I'm on my way. Hold on. Sorry, there's a lot of fucking about, everyone. Hold on, I think that's about ideal. That's about as close to ideal as I can get, maybe. Oh, but it's still kind of, Oh well. I'll just have to try not to hit it, even though I'm already colliding with everything. Alright, art! Oh, it's like a 2-page spread. We have, what is this? A tarantula or something? Versus a howler, aka a baboon. It's got 3 fingers. It's got a 3-fingered hand. Yeah, kind of rare to see quad mechs in BattleTech. They don't really get as much, they don't get as much love as I feel like they maybe should, but oh well. Urgh. Okay, let me see if I can zoom in. Here's our first real chapter. The Founders. Oh, this one's gonna be a bit awkward, because I have to, like, really splay the book open to show you the text on the edge. At least for this side. I won't have to do that for this side, probably. But first, let's zoom this in. Let's see. Alright, let's see. I may have to zoom this in even closer, actually. Is this an autofocus thing, or is this just too much for... Okay, it's not exactly a focus thing. I think that's just a bit more than zoom can handle. Alright, let's put it down to, like... Alright, we'll keep it at that. Over 2x is when it gets jaggy. I mean, hell, it probably still looks jaggy on... for you. I only have a small preview window. Alright. Praise be the founders of Clan Jade Falcon. Daniel Matlov, from him came the fire of the first Falcons. Karl Akaza, from him came the stubbornness and strength. Lisa Buholin, from her came the will to remember, from the Jade Falcon invocation. Not the remembrance? Actually, I don't remember. Do each of the clans have their own remembrance, or is it just... or is, like, remembrance for all clans? I think each clan has their own remembrance. I don't know. I could be wrong. In 2784, when it became clear that the corruption Stefan Amaris had spread through the 5 houses of the Inner Sphere, now threatened to engulf the Star League Defense Force, General Alexander Kerensky presented the idea of an exodus to his troops. 80% of the SLDF responded when Kerensky gave the Exodus order, and 1,000 ships jumped into uncharted space. They traveled more than 1,300 light-years from the Inner Sphere, eventually settling on 5 barely habitable worlds. Barely habitable worlds that lay within 5 closely situated star systems. As Kerensky dismantled the artificial military structure created by the journey, old hatreds and distrust reemerged, and the heirs of the SLDF eventually fell into a 20-year battle on the 5 settled worlds of the Pentagon that eerily resembled the Succession Wars. Alexander's son, Nicholas, recognizing the signs of another debilitating struggle, another exodus on the path to a new civilization. 600 warriors followed Nicholas Kerensky back from the world of Stranomekti to the war-torn Pentagon. Wasn't it 800? Although, granted, to be fair, by this point, at this point in the timeline, there were a few clans that weren't around anymore, so who knows. "600 warriors followed Nicholas Kerensky back from the world of Stranomekti to the war-torn Pentagon. No longer members of the clan of the Star League Defense Force, Nicholas's force called itself the Clans of Kerensky. With great skill and ferocity, they put an end to the bitter factionalism that had killed millions. Nicholas Kerensky brought the fierce warrior society he had created on Stranomekti to the survivors of the Pentagon worlds. They hailed him as a hero and embraced his new code." Oop. I got some sick-ass art here. I don't know if those are supposed to be the first founders of the Jade Falcons, or if it's just random Falcons from, like, present time. Yeah. Sorry. The clans pay homage to their founding members with yearly memorials. This praise is not distributed equally, however. Each clan considers only a handful of their original members to be of particular importance to the clan, and deserving of the title, Founder. The Founder's importance springs from many sources, but most often for their role during the Exodus Civil War. A support for Nicholas Kerensky as he created his new society, or for the honor that the particular founder's genetic heritage is brought to the clan over time. Clan Jade Falcon recognizes 4 founders. They are Lisa Buholland, Daniel Matloff, Carla Kaza, and Elizabeth Hazen. Of the 4, Elizabeth Hazen is the most prominent in the hearts and minds of all Jade Falcon warriors. And speaking of whom? But all hail mighty Elizabeth Hazen and Turkina, as first among equals, for she was the first Khan, and Turkina her winged soul. From them came her spirit and destiny. On the Jade Falcon invocation. Clan Jade Falcon history truly begins with the birth of Elizabeth Cynthia Hazen on April 5th, 2741, in the city of Alexandria, the state of Virginia, North American continent, Terra. Upon reaching her legal majority, Elizabeth joined the Star League Defense Forces, immediately beginning to demonstrate great prowess as a mech warrior and leader. Though only 25 years old at the time of the Ameris coup, Hazen was already commander of a company of the Royal Black Watch Regiment, the elite honor guard of the Cameron family. Captain Hazen was not with her company the day the usurper assassinated Richard Cameron and had his troops destroy the Black Watch. She was with her brother Lionel, an aerospace pilot with the Black Watch who had crashed his fighter the day before. When Ameris troopers stormed the hospital where Hazen's brother was being treated, they herded everyone out in the parking lots, leaving behind those patients who could not walk, including Lionel Hazen. Elizabeth Hazen realized something was very wrong, and an act of brutality, so typical of Ameris, he ordered the hospital bombed before the eyes of the terrified onlookers. Elizabeth Hazen and several others managed to escape from their captors in the ensuing confusion. In the months, then years, that followed, Elizabeth gathered together other soldiers and civilians eager to fight back. They formed the Ghosts of the Black Watch, or GBW, a guerrilla force that haunted the mountains and forests of the Olympic Peninsula, striking strategic Ameris interests with great skill and fury. A decade after the coup, General Kerensky's forces liberated Terra from Ameris rule in 2779. Elizabeth Hazen and her followers emerged from hiding, looking, in the words of General Kerensky, like a band of starving wolves. The Star League awarded Elizabeth Hazen the Star League Medal of Honor and inducted her into the Order of the Sword as a reward for her constant loyalty. She was the last to be accorded such honors. The Ghosts of the Black Watch suffered great physical and emotional hardships during their decade of resistance, and Elizabeth Hazen may have suffered most. When General Kerensky had offered her a position on his command staff, she requested release from the SLDF instead. For a year, Hazen wandered across Terra, sometimes teaching English to support herself, and finally settling as a language tutor in Budapest. The brothers of a Catholic monastery high in the hills above the city introduced Elizabeth to falconry. After Kerensky's defeat of Stefan Amaris, he waited patiently another 3 years for the leaders of the 5 great houses to elect the new First Lord of the Star League. When the Council Lords failed to elect the new First Lord and instead disbanded the Star League, because each wanted the highest power for him or herself, General Kerensky gave his troops the Exodus Order. General Kerensky gave his troops the Exodus Order rather than face what he saw as the coming Armageddon. Somehow, Elizabeth Hazen learned of what was happening. Many Jade Falcon poets and lore masters believe that General de Chevalier traveled to Budapest to inform her, an opinion unconfirmed by our historians. This version of events would also support the unconfirmed belief that Elizabeth Hazen and Aaron de Chevalier shared more than a passing friendship. The fact remains that Elizabeth Hazen joined the Exodus, recommissioned by General Kerensky himself, to the rank of Major, and given a position in General de Chevalier's command staff. According to history reveals little about Major Hazen's role in the Exodus. Most likely, she had little to occupy her time until the Prince Eugen. Most likely, she had little to occupy her time until the Prince Eugene mutiny. When 9 warships in the Exodus fleet rebelled against Kerensky's authority and decided to return to Terra, Kerensky sent a large force, including Major Hazen, to capture the fleeing mutineers. When the pursuing force returned on the 9 renegade ships, General Kerensky ordered the leaders executed and put Hazen in command of one of the firing squads. The Legend of Turkina. Here we go. One moment, please. Now you take a sip. Gotta stay hydrated. I actually went on a hike this morning. The Legend of Turkina. Then Warrior Hazen grew cold, watching noble D. Chevalier die. She heard her mind whisper, urging her to fly, to forget her duty. But with a defiant cry, proud Turkina dove from the realm of death to seize Hazen's heart, and shake it free of fear, leaving pure her soul and her duty clear. The Remembrance, Clan Jade Falcon. Okay, so this invocation is a separate thing from the Remembrance. Passage 8, verse 36, lines 58 to 66. In the course of their travels away from Terra, General Kerensky and his followers came upon a cluster of marginally habitable star systems, less than a jump apart. His soldiers and the civilians who shared his vision enough to accompany him so far from Terra colonized 5 of these worlds, naming them Arcadia, Circe, Dagda, Eden, and Babylon. For several years, peace reigned among the general's followers. But life was not without dangers. Colonists fought and struggled to tame their hostile new homeworlds. To carry out this work, Kerensky realized that he must demilitarize his followers. Reducing his forces by 75% through a series of severe tests that only the most skilled soldiers could pass. Elizabeth Hazen passed easily, retaining her commission. Taking command of the Dagda military garrison, where she also became involved in the fledgling civilian government. These peaceful years marked the Exodus scientists' first major breakthroughs in genetic engineering. Their earliest efforts produced predators designed to hunt down the native life forms that pose a particular threat to the colonists. Perhaps the most beautiful of these man-made creations are the Jade Falcons. The Jade Falcon, created from the genes of the peregrine and gyr falcon, is the size of Terra's largest eagle. With its razor-sharp talons, the Jade Falcon hunts the Eden Serpent, a large, venomous winged reptile native to the planet Eden. The Jade Falcon was soon exported to Dagda to deal with a similar menace on that world. There, the Jade Falcon's prey was a creature the colonists named the Dagadar, a large quasi-avian that attacked the colonists' livestock. According to clan lore, Elizabeth Hazen was the first to completely tame and train a Jade Falcon. She named her prize Turkina, after the particularly powerful wife of one of the ancient Mongol Khans on Terra. The sight of Hazen and Turkina became a familiar one throughout the Pentagon. Some stories even claim that Turkina read her mistress's mind. God, why today of all days I have to have an itchy nose? In one such story, Elizabeth happened to challenge the developer of a piece of land whose price she believed to be ridiculously high. When she confronted the man of her suspicions, he threatened her with a convenient accident. She was alone, and no one would ever know what happened. Hazen replied that she had all the protection she needed, and pointed up at a tiny speck circling the cloudless sky. At that instant, Turkina gave a screech of defiance, folded her wings, and plummeted straight at the terrified developer, only to pull off the dive of her talons just centimeters from his face. Face. Major Hazen and Turkina became unwilling celebrities for a time, but their fame was quickly forgotten as tensions over scarce food and other essentials erupted on Dagda and the other Pentagon worlds. This fed old hatreds over cultural differences, which escalated so quickly and violently that Kerensky, once again titled Protector of the Star League, preferred him on a diplomatic military mission trying to defuse the situation and avoid a civil war. And here we have exclusive Jade Falcon blood names. We have the general blood names of Chistu, Hazen, and Malthus. Good. Then we have the blood names used typically for mech warriors. I don't know if this is actually a thing. I don't know if this is actually usually a thing with, or in, like, the modern age with modern lore, but, like, yeah, we have mech warrior, elemental, and aerospace-specific blood names. So yeah, for mech warriors, we have Helmer, Buhalin, Rorschach, and Pride. Elementals, we have Akaza and Matlov. And for pilots, we have Benetti, Thassus, and Von Jankmon. One moment. I'm actually gonna go take a quick break to go... I'm gonna go moisturize my nose, actually. Alright, I will be right back. I'll probably run a few minutes of ads, actually. My apologies. Okay. Alright, my nose should probably be a little less itchy going forwards. Let's restart the music. Also, I went and grabbed a bookmark. Left in the Acropolis. Really good webcomic. Oop. If I can find the freaking page I was on. Here we are. Pranger. The Pranger art by Nick Klee. Really good webcomic. Go check it out. You can find it at www.lifethen.com. Alright. Where were we? We're in the middle of the Legend of Turkina. Kerensky began by ordering General D. Chevalier, with Major Hazen as his second command, to disarm a Liao separatist faction that refused all peaceful overtures on the southern continent of Eden. The order found Elizabeth Hazen caring for an ailing Turkina who had been stricken by a virus. 2 hours before Hazen's ship for Eden, the fabled Turkina died. The loss of her Falcon companion devastated Elizabeth, and she left for Eden with a heavy heart. 10 days later, D. Chevalier and Elizabeth Hazen used their mechs to lead a force of infantrymen through the dense Polkhill jungle. Under the reddish midday sun, the force entered a clearing and met an ambush. Elizabeth Hazen's mech, a Black Knight, fell first when it stepped into a concealed, oil-filled pit. Elizabeth ejected clear as her mech pitched forward and sank chest-deep into the black liquid, then exploded in flames an instant later. The Major's relief at avoiding a fiery death was short-lived. As she floated down towards solid ground, a bolt hit her helmet, knocking her unconscious. Hazen woke to the sight of a desperate battle. Yeah, typical Capellan shit. Hazen woke to the sight of a desperate battle. D. Chevalier's mech, its mangled right leg dragging behind, had also fallen into a concealed pit. Instead of bailing out, however, the general continued firing his weapons with an apparent disregard for his perilous position. In an attempt to protect their leader, his soldiers established a perimeter guard around the mech and began a fierce barrage of weapons fire. As Elizabeth Hazen struggled out of her harness and stumbled toward the fray, the jungle erupted with the sound of handheld missiles leaving their tubes. Some missed their targets and set trees aflame. Others fell among the infantry, lived for a few tortured seconds until the flaming jelly burned the flesh from their bodies. Oof. Inferno rockets. But most of the missiles hit D. Chevalier's mech, smearing it with burning petrochemical and setting the pool of oil around it on fire. Elizabeth could imagine the waves of heat building in the General's mech, could almost see the heat indicators creep up toward the critical range. It must have whispered a prayer that General D. Chevalier would eject. The hatch on the mech finally jettisoned. For a moment, it looked as though Elizabeth's prayer had been answered. And instantly, the General's ejection seat lifted out of the stricken mech on a column of fire, just as another salvo of missiles streaked from the jungle toward the mech. One struck the General, creating a fireball of flame, smoke, and debris. A story called The Falcon Vision chronicles the tale of D. Chevalier's death and the succeeding events. Said to have been written shortly after Elizabeth Hazen's death, the tale's ornate language makes it very long, but quite beautiful. All Jade Falcon cadets memorize the story during training and recite it at their graduation ceremony. The Falcon Vision provides the best version of what happened next. And our founder knew fear and despair. For as the glow from the fireball faded, she heard the cheers of the enemy, and the sound stripped away what courage was left in her heart. She crawled away from the battle until she reached a small green clearing that was cool and quiet. She wondered what to do. Her heart told her she had suffered enough these past few days. First at the death of Tarkina, and now the violent death of her best friend. Could anyone suffer such sorrow and not think of running away, or worse? And they were roommates! Eh. One small part of her argued against the search to flee. Yes, the universe had struck terrible blows against her, but she still lived, and should continue the struggle. But that thought grew fainter and fainter, until it was little more than the droning of a mosquito against the siren's call to throw off her uniform and slip into the jungle, where she could wait for oblivion. A familiar cry pierced the air and cut short her reverie, before her mind had registered its astonishment. Our founder watched great Tarkina land on a perch in front of her. The bird's emerald eyes looked sternly upon the battered form of her mistress. Tarkina opened her beak, not to scream, but to speak with contempt. Weakness, Tarkina said. Weakness from my mistress? It is not possible! When our stunned founder made no reply, Tarkina ruffled her feathers angrily and spoke again. Why do you sit here like a frightened pigeon, hiding from the fight? She asked. You should be out there, talons whipping, beak dripping with the blood of your foes, not crouched here waiting to die a coward's death. At that, the pride of our founder rose like bile. I decide what I do, and will not let some hallucination tell me to die a meaningless death. Hallucination? Let this be the doings of a hallucination, then. Tarkina bent and slashed the back of our founder's left hand with her beak, drawing blood and pain. Elizabeth Hazen accepted that it was indeed Tarkina perched before her, impossible as that seemed. In a voice full of self-pity, Hazen confessed her fear and despair. Tarkina replied that every death held meaning, as long as the life was honestly given for the common good. The Spectre Falcon chastised her former companion, claiming that a warrior who turned from a fight was worse than a coward, and acted against nature. Some are born to till the fields, some are destined to create. You train from birth to be a warrior, just as I trained at your fists when I had barely escaped the shards of my shell. To turn your back on your destiny because you are frightened or sick of the hunt is an abomination against nature. Elizabeth rose, swearing to be true to her nature, and re-entered the fight. Tarkina rejoined, if this is true emotion, then swear upon the love we shared when you were my mistress, to give all that you have and are, to protect and advance the virtues you hold dear. Fight so that your children may look back upon what you have done and say, praise be the name of Elizabeth Hazen, for she was what a warrior should be. Our founder, her voice choked with pride and honor, swore upon all that was holy to fulfill Tarkina's vow. 1 second, I need to hydrate. Our founder turned to rejoin the fight, only to discover that she no longer wore her sidearm. I have no weapon. How will I avenge the death of D. Chevalier? She asked. Have you not yet learned that a warrior's weapon is his body, and that swords and lasers and mechs are but extensions of that weapon? Tarkina said. A cry that sounded like a laugh of triumph. Tarkina launched into the air, and like a ray of light, disappeared into the sky. Fearing that she had lost the blessing of her wondrous vision, Elizabeth Hazen set out toward the clearing, determined to use her hands, feet, and mind to continue the struggle. When she heard Tarkina's clear cry once more, she looked into the sun, and suddenly Tarkina reappeared, her talons gripping a battered katana. Tarkina dropped the sword and the founder caught it, overwhelmed by a flood of memories. Yes, loved one. That is the sword you gave Aaron D. Chevalier long ago. I pried it from his lifeless hands for you. Even in death, he gripped his weapon, as should every warrior in the last moments of his life. Cherish it in his memory, and use it to draw the blood of any who would dare stand in the way of destiny. With tears in her eyes, Elizabeth Hazen turned again to enter the battle, but paused once more to hear Tarquina's parting words. Before you leave, pull 5 feathers from my wings, and take back this leather cord, the Jade Falcon told her. As I wore your justice and life as a token of my devotion. Now you and those who will follow you must swear devotion to me and the ways of my falcon kindred. You are now warriors of the wing. The tale concludes with Elizabeth Hazen returning to the battle and killing many enemy soldiers. Many enemies. And killing many enemy soldiers in a particularly violent and gory fashion, then leading what remained of her troops in a successful attack against the Separatist stronghold. While the riots and rebellions continued elsewhere, all-out civil war broke out on Eden. Perhaps it was the death of his old comrade D. Chevalier, perhaps it was the Spirit facing yet another civil war. But it was not long after that General Alexander Kerensky died. Nicholas, his son and heir, realized that he could not stop the rising violence, and decided to let the fire erupt and burn itself out quickly, rather than continue the fight. Gathering together his followers, Nicholas led those loyal to his vision in another exodus, this time to Strana, a nearby globular cluster of worlds. When his personal warship left the Pentagon, Elizabeth Hazen stood by his side. Of course, the idea that the Falcon Tarquina broke the bounds of death, distance, and nature to visit her former mistress is ludicrous. But Jade Falcon members say the story is supported, however slenderly, by certain relics, including 5 dusty wing feathers from a Jade Falcon, a leather thong, and a battered katana bearing scratches along its blade that Jade Falcon warriors swear were made by Tarquina's talons when she gripped the sword. Yeah, she totally took that katana. Yeah, like, that totally... Yeah, that was totally a katana that, you know, a Falcon grabbed, and not like... It wasn't just a beat-up sword that she took off of the Capellans she was fighting. Also, we do have this sick-ass art. That's Elizabeth Hazen cutting some motherfuckers down. They did deserve it, you know. Yeah, kind of brutal, but in all honesty, they deserved it. As Tex once put it, those who stood their ground died. Those who ran died tired. Daniel Matlov. I really don't care if the Star League is ever re-established. I'm more conservative today, and today it is obvious that without the wisdom of Alexander Kerensky and the leadership of General Nicholas, we're a little more than dirt-hogging, backstabbing barbarians. The vision of the 2 Kerenskys is the reason we have survived until now. And as long as I can still pilot a mech, pick up a pistol, or even spit in someone's eye, I will defend it. Excerpt from a letter written by Daniel Matlov to Elizabeth Hazen. Daniel Matlov, a soldier known as much for his loyalty to the Kerenskys as his considerable abilities as a fighter pilot, joined Nicholas Kerensky in the Second Exodus. Born on the hegemony world of Kaf as the second son of the Duke of Kaf, Daniel Matlov was a member of one of the Terran hegemony's richest and most influential families. He grew up unwilling to fulfill his family's expectation that he devote his life either to business or politics, and rebelled by enlisting in the Star League Defense Forces. He trained as a fighter pilot at the Flight Academy of Graham, graduating with honors, and then reporting to the elite fighter wing of the 11th Royal BattleTech Division, the Orion Division. His military career had been full of contradictions. Though a fighter pilot of exceptional skill and bravery, his haughty, prideful manner and short temper earned him numerous reprimands and cost him any chance of promotion above the rank of a lieutenant. Many of these incidents, 29 in all, put him on report for assaulting someone who insulted the SLDF, his unit, or his commanding officer. His fierce sense of loyalty governed his whole life. Perhaps this is why the trait is won prize above all others by Clan Jade Falcon warriors. Despite his problems, Matlov proved himself an excellent soldier. He performed brilliantly during General Kerensky's attempt to call the Periphery Uprising beginning in 2765, and then struggled to defeat Stefan Amaris after he seized terror in most of the hegemony worlds. He made ace 10 times over, and suffered injuries on 5 separate occasions, the last when he deliberately crashed his burning fighter into a column of Amaris mechs on Kath. That crash wounded him so severely that doctors feared he would never recover. Daniel did, however, survive his injuries and stood among the first offers of support when General Kerensky issued the call to Exodus. At the time, he could barely walk. Making the decision to go was not easy. His entire family had died fighting the Amaris invasion of Kath, or during the Amaris occupation, leaving Matlov the title of Duke of Kath and the family's wealth. Loyalty to General Kerensky and the SLDF won out. Daniel left his family's future and fortunes to a distant cousin and joined the Exodus. Daniel Matlov's activities during the Exodus and colonization of the Pentagon worlds remain largely unknown, but a few terse medical records show that he continued to pilot aerospace fighters against the judgment of his doctors, who believed his days as a soldier had ended. Daniel Matlov was one of the first to swear loyalty to Nicholas Kerensky when Alexander died while preparing the campaign to secure the rebellious world of Eden, and he probably met fellow supporter Elizabeth Hazen during the Exodus of Strana Mekti. In the nearby Kerensky cluster, during the Exodus to Strana Mekti in the nearby Kerensky cluster, an easy friendship grew between the two as they recognized a similar... hold on. Oh, okay, I can't brush that away. An easy friendship grew between the two as they recognized a similar devotion to the ideals embodied by Nicholas Kerensky. When Nicholas released the preliminary rosters of the 20 clans given the honor of ending the civil wars plaguing the Pentagon worlds, Daniel Matlov's name was missing. Outraged, Daniel confronted Nicholas Kerensky and his command staff and demanded to know the reason for this insult. When told he had been passed over because of his medical condition, Matlov retorted that, while he might never pilot an aerospace fighter again, as long as it had been permanently weakened by his last crash, he could damn well pilot a mech better than any one of you fools. For once, his brashness earned him not a rubber man, but respect. Daniel immersed himself in training as a mech warrior, and proved to be as skilled at controlling a mech as piloting a fighter. The final rosters of Nicholas's 20 clans must have given Daniel Matlov great pride. His name was among those warriors who took an active part in the fighting, as commander in clan Jade Falcon was his friend Elizabeth Hazen. Ugh, one moment, let me hydrate. Carla Kaza. How does a Kaza take bad news? Let me put it this way. I'd rather be covered with paper cuts than thrown into a vat of lemon juice to tell Kaza something he ain't going to like. Captain Danielle Mark, say to Colonel Carla Kaza. Nicholas Kerensky's final roster appointed Carla Kaza commander of the Clan Jade Falcon Infantry. While clan lore is full of stories about Carla Kaza, its early history eluded our researchers. We eventually realized that our difficulty in tracing Carla Kaza's roots lay in the fact that Kaza was not his real name. The discovery that he was born Carl Benno of Skye in the Lyran Commonwealth revealed more information, including that Carl served 3 years in prison. A man of considerable size and strength, Carl Benno, née Kaza, staunchly opposed the class system on Skye, a very tradition-bound planet. He was expelled twice in his early years at Sanglamore Military Academy for trying to unionize the university's maintenance staff. This was a long-standing grudge between Kaza and Count Vimens Donakowski, Lyran Dean of the Academy and staunch hater of liberal views that landed him in jail. The focus of their almost constant skirmishes. Shifted dramatically with the appearance on campus of Gina Dralith, eldest daughter and heir of the Duke of Kochab. An instant dramatic passion sprang to life between Carl and Gina. It was spurned Count Donakowski for her true love. Donakowski decided to devote his considerable political and social influence to making the young couple's life miserable. Man, If that were not enough, Carl later faced charges of treason against the Lyran Commonwealth. Oh. Hello, Wesley. What are you doing here? What? 1 second, everyone. This one is getting good. What is it? Oh, Wes? One moment. Sorry about that, everyone. The dog was very excited about something. Alright, where were we? Right. If that were not enough, Carl later faced charges of treason against the Lyran Commonwealth. The Count, acting as chief prosecutor, accused him of passing confidential information about important students to operatives of the Terran Hegemony, and backed up the accusations with physical proof. At first glance, the charges appear to have been contrived by the jealous Count. However, deeper scrutiny shows no proof to suggest that he framed Carl or faked the evidence. Time spent in jail turned Carl's life around. Gina, shattered by the publicity surrounding the trial, left Carl and Sky for home, and so little remained for Carl in the Lyran Commonwealth. Shortly after earning a parole, Carl Benno left Sky for the Terran Hegemony under the name Carl Akaza. There he joined the SLDF. That he managed to evade the surveillance the Count placed on him after his release from prison goes a long way toward proving that Carl did indeed hold strong ties to Hegemony intelligence services. Under his new name, Carl became a cadet in the West Point Military Academy of Terra, and graduated 3 years later as an infantry lieutenant. He served with distinction in a variety of units, and, by the time of the Ameris coup, commanded the 889th Jump Infantry Regiment of the 17th Jump Infantry Division, the Golden Talons. The Golden Talons, stationed just outside the Hegemony at the time of the coup, played a vital but little remembered role in bringing down the usurper. They helped evacuate the survivors of SLDF units stationed on nearby Hegemony worlds, then launched a campaign of probing attacks to test the mettle of Ameris' forces. These pitched and often brutal battles were fought at great costs. The SLDF forces receive only the most rudimentary logistical support from the component Confederation. Akaza's 889th, the Headhunters, spearheaded one such doomed attack against the Hegemony world of Epsilon Eridani. With orders to find and evacuate, the SLDF soldiers rumored to be hiding in that world's Diamond Mountains on the southern continent. The rescue mission turned out to be nothing more than the ruse created by Ameris forces, and the trap cost the lives of many SLDF troopers. The ensuing slaughter destroyed the ensuing slaughter destroyed the 889th as a fighting unit. Man. Shit. The Ameris troops captured Colonel Akaza and he languished in a stockade for 9 years, routinely suffering torture and humiliation until liberated by SLDF forces led by the Golden Talons. Akaza never explained how he survived for so long under such brutal conditions, but perhaps it was sheer stubbornness. It made sense for Akaza to volunteer to join up when Kerensky's exodus call went out. He had seen mankind at its worst, and probably wanted to put as much space between the Inner Sphere and himself as possible. When civil war became inevitable in the Pentagon worlds, Akaza, a regiment commander on Dagda, demanded that Protector Alexander Kerensky and his son authorize the military to take immediate, harsh action. According to the Clan Wolf and Steel Viper lore masters, Akaza's contemporaries began to question the man's mental health about this same time. Excessive use of corporal punishment to discipline his men and punish civilians under control, as well as reports of other odd behavior led fellow officers to suggest they believed that he be relieved of his command. Nicholas flatly denied this request, as he and the Kaza had become close friends during the Exodus. Alexander's death and Nicholas's call for a new Exodus apparently shocked new life into the aging warrior. The 20 years of voluntary exile in Stratomek gave him the time and opportunity to free his mind of the demons that had so troubled him. Nicholas had created a strike force of 800 warriors. Wasn't it 600 earlier? Oh, I'm looking for it. Not on that page. Where did I see it? 600. Yeah, 600 here. I mean, I guess 200 stay behind during Operation Klondike. I guess that's the idea? I don't know. Anyways, Carl Akaza, not a guy you wanted to piss off. Nicholas had created a strike force of 800 warriors and put Akaza in charge of training them in their new infantry unit formations and battle tactics. Nicholas, meanwhile, organized his followers into a new order. Based on the system of clans we see today. This new order approaches people of the flaws that have led to so much civil strife up to this point. It also allowed him to train the force he would need to conquer the battled worlds of the Pentagon. When Khan Kerensky was finally ready, he assigned Clan Jade Falcon, along with Clans Hell's Horses, Wolf, and Smoke Jaguar, to liberate the planet Eden. Elizabeth Hazen saw this as a chance to avenge the death of General D. Chevalier. Carl Akaza intended to use this assignment to post some order and discipline among the populace. The four clans prepared for the drop, with Jade Falcon teamed with Wolf to take and control the planet's largest and most important continent. Even before they arrived on Eden, a strong rivalry developed between the two clans. Nicholas Kerensky encouraged the competition because he thought it good for morale. Several weeks later, rivalry and morale gave way to open feuding when Carl Akaza's infantry points discovered a contingent of enemy infantry at nearly the same instant as a star of wolf mechs. Probably declaring their right to the battle, Carl and his troops moved to engage the opposition, but the wolf mechs waited past them in the enemy formation, killing most and scattering the rest. Wolf mechs. Oh, also, we've got that art again. Yeah, let me zoom out a little so you can see it. A little more. That's not bad, I gotta say. It's kind of weird, but hey. Got that kind of like old comic book style. I think we're here. We're at this level of zoom. Yeah. Infuriated, Carl Akaza attacked the wolf leader, Star Commander Franklin Ward, as soon as the warrior dismounted his mech. This move signaled the start of a free-for-all, and the 5 wolf mech warriors got the worst of it. The fight ended with the arrival of Khan Hazen and Khan Fetladrov of Clan Wolf. When they discovered the reason for the fight, the Khans ordered the mech warriors whipped for violating the combat rights of Carl Akaza's soldiers. So he managed to get his way. Not really a lot of talk of what happened to them. Oh, well, I guess that'll be later. I was gonna say, not a lot of talk of what happened to them after Klondike. Lisa Buholland. Lisa Boo Holland is the least known of all our founders, even though her books tell us about the first days of Clan Jade Falcon. We honor her privacy. Angeline Matloff, Lore Master Clan Jade Falcon. The ill feeling between Clan Jade Falcon and Clan Wolf festered despite the punishment meted out to the Wolf Mech Warriors. Throughout the campaign to take Eden, two clans repeatedly contested the right to assault key targets. When discussion proved futile in resolving these disputes, the clan cons created a strictly administered series of rules for resolving disagreements as the only way to prevent devastating fighting between the two clans. Some of these rules were later incorporated and ritualized into the clan trials. Clan Jade Falcon subdued the larger share of Eden, mainly because of Khan Hazen's relentless desire to avenge the death of General D. Chevalier by killing anyone who might have raised a hand against him and Nicholas Kerensky. When Eden Lake conquered, Clan Jade Falcon and Clan Wolf went to Dagda to help subdue that particularly rebellious world. When Nicholas Kerensky formed the clans, he stressed the honor of winning glory by fighting against the odds. Maybe zoom it in a little more, actually. There. When Nicholas Kerensky formed the clans, he stressed the honor of winning glory by fighting against the odds. But Khan Kerensky made an announcement near the end of the reconquest of the Pentagon that diminished that goal. He would choose the clan that performed best in the overall campaign as his clan. This was a prize beyond prize. The clan the Khan commanded would be the foremost clan, and the rights of Kerensky's blood heritage would virtually guarantee that clan generations of warriors blessed with the same skills and genius as Nicholas and his father, General Kerensky. Clan Jade Falcon felt justifiably confident of being chosen. They had fought numerous battles and gained great glory. 5 times the Khan commanded them personally. All 5 times, those warriors won decisive victories. Only Clan Wolf fought as well. The battle known as the Siege of the Black Brian seemed to tip the scales in favor of Clan Jade Falcon. The Black Brian was a fortification similar in size and construction to the Castle Bryans used by the Terran hegemony. Situated on the eastern continent of Dagda, it dominated the only pass through the Thorin Mountains. A strong, well-trained force of warriors claiming allegiance to the ways of the Lion Commonwealth overran the fort during the first days of the Exodus Civil Wars. Though the fort got its name from the way its walls got blackened during the various battles of Civil Wars, the Black Brian's defenders still represented formidable opposition. The clans needed to destroy that pocket of resistance in order to reassert their control over that part of the planet, and so the Khan himself assumed command of the Jade Falcon troops. Oop. Setting the stage for a particularly bloody and fateful battle. The record of this battle also marks the first mention of Lisa Boo Holland in the annals of Jade Falcon. Though she commanded an assault star in the Siege of the Black Brian, her name does not appear on the rosters of those who joined the Exodus or served in the SLDF. Our archivist spent many hours researching the name, and finally discovered someone they believe is the Lisa Boo Holland who helped create Clan Jade Falcon, a woman born into a poor farming family on the Karita world of Trondheim. Upon graduating from a college prep school, Lisa accepted a scholarship to Pacific Lutheran University, a respected liberal arts college just kilometers from Unity City. As part of her background makes her role in the clan somewhat surprising. Before her induction into the clans, Lisa Boo Holland apparently showed no interest in the military profession. At university, Lisa followed her first love and became a well-liked member of the creative writing program. No one knows how Lisa survived the years of the Ameris reign, or how she came to join Kerensky in the regular army. Circumstantial evidence suggests that she either belonged to Hazen's Ghost of the Black Watch or had a relationship with a member of that guerrilla force. Even her status as a member of the Ghost, however, does not explain how someone with a lack of military and practical skills managed to join the Exodus when General Kerensky left behind others possessing greater military and civilian expertise. How she managed to become an elite warrior of one of the Nicholas Kerensky's clans, and a mech warrior at that, also remains a mystery. Even the Falcon lore masters cannot find a satisfactory explanation for her appearance. Clan archives might have answered our questions, but Nicholas deliberately destroyed many of the records relating to members of the Exodus as part of his effort to create a new society, free from the tainted past. Ugh. Mystery. Our few insights come from Lisa herself, who wrote one of the few accounts of the clan's creation outside the Remembrance. The true and faithful account of the first days of Clan Jade Falcons required reading for anyone interested in an in-depth account of the clan's early days, but even this book contains only a few references to its author. In one of the rare passages revealing anything personal, Lisa Buholin remembers her first battle as the most uplifting, liberating minutes of my life. For once I could only be myself at the keyboard of a word processor or pen and paper. I was suddenly shouting for joy and piloting my Atlas as if I were a giddy schoolgirl, cavorting in a field of spring flowers. Nor did it matter one damn bit that I was killing people as I did so. It is unlikely that she felt so much joy when she led her mechs against the Black Brine fortifications on Dagda. Ilkhan Kerensky ordered her to neutralize one of the large weapons turrets, assigned her unit minimal support, and then watched the assault. Her star accomplished its objective, but Lisa Buholin paid a high price for the victory. A grievous wound ended her short but notable Jade Falcon military career. Lisa Buholin recovered, and earned the position of the clan's second Khan and first lore master. She spent her last years writing her history of the clans and composing passages for the Remembrance. She also became a trusted counselor to Ilkhan Kerensky, helping him turn his vision of clan society into laws and regulations. So yeah, not really an actual military leader per se, but definitely a leader of sorts. Very interesting. I wonder what the modern lore has to say about her. The culling. Alright, one moment. Ugh. Taking a bracing sip of gamer subs. It is with great pleasure that I announce which clan shall become home to my heart, and the hearts of those Kerenskys who will follow. The clan I have chosen possesses a collective intelligence I admire, the burning passion of the true hunters that I desire, and above all, is blessed with the spirit which will serve as a beacon to all the rest. I choose to mingle my blood legacy with Clan Wolf. Ilkhan Nicholas Kerensky. Yep. Okay, so we've got, like, an overall narrative here. We're having an overall narrative of the founding of the clans, and Jade Falcon specifically. Clan Jade Falcon's hopes for ultimate glory died when Nicholas Kerensky chose to tie his destiny to Clan Wolf. Publicly, the clan reacted to the announcement by swearing anew their undying loyalty to the Ilkhan and his new command. Privately, they reeled with shock and outrage. Nicholas Kerensky delivered a second announcement at the same time, revealing that the Pentagon worlds were now divided into clan-ruled spheres of control, known as enclaves. Clan Jade Falcon received large portions of Dagda and Eden to rebuild and shape in keeping with Nicholas Kerensky's dream. The Ilkhan provided a few general orders for the reconstruction of the worlds, then returned to Strana Mekti. The warriors of Clan Jade Falcon harbored a deep resentment towards Nicholas Kerensky for passing them over for the clan's greatest honor. And a common refrain ran through the rank and file. Did we not fight more often with greater skill than the wolves? Have we not given our very lives to prove our worth? Discontent spread, and some warriors went beyond questioning the Ilkhan's decision to also question the validity of his dreams of a caste-driven society. More than a year passed, during which Khans Hayes and Buholin made little effort to stop the growing discontent, perhaps a sign of their personal misgivings. The malcontents, emboldened by lack of punishment, carried their argument to its logical conclusion, and declared that if the Ilkhan failed to see the superiority of Clan Jade Falcon, then perhaps they should strike out on their own. In days of that statement, the Ilkhan sent a message to Eden announcing his arrival to meet with the leaders of Clan Jade Falcon. The Khan's indecision finally ended in furious action. The Khans and high officers of Clan Jade Falcon fell upon the rank and file in what came to be called the culling, referring to the falconry practice of casting out immature falcons too small or frail to be trained. Those who questioned Clan Jade Falcon's role in Kerensky society, were subjected to severe physical punishment, or were sent to explore marginally habitable worlds in the Kerensky cluster. The ringleaders of the insurrection, 2 officers and 10 enlisted personnel, were executed and their bodies put on display. Man. By the time the Ilkhan arrived on Eden, to be ceremoniously greeted by the Khans and command staff of Clan Jade Falcon, the culling was over. No clan record hazards even a guess at whether Nicholas Kerensky knew of the growing unrest and announced his trip to galvanize the clan's leaders into action. Easy to believe considering the timing of his visit. Whether those events were coincidental. Whatever the intent, the effect of the Ilkhan's visit to Clan Jade Falcon was clear then, and still visible today. Of all the clans, Jade Falcon considers itself the most loyal to the ways of the 2 great Kerenskys. Conservative in action and in word, the post-culling voice of Clan Jade Falcon consistently demands that all the clans remain in line with what the Kerenskys intended. Of course, they also claim to be the only clan that understands exactly what the Kerenskys had in mind. So narrow is their interpretation of the clan's destiny and the Kerenskys' intentions, that anyone who raises the least question considering either is punished with a severity that shocks even other conservative clans. So I guess the Falcons had to abide by the decision, even though it's like they were pretty salty. Even though they were pretty salty about it. Also, check out this art. Kinda crusty, but kinda cool. Anyways. Oh wait, I can change the region. Hold on. Ooh. Wait, can I like... Okay, this might help. Alright. And now, the Golden Century. And we've got 2 born. We've got babies in iron wombs. I do not begrudge our brother wolves their wealth, nor do I begrudge them their successful exploration. However, I question whether or not they remember Nicholas Kerensky's admonition to those who would strive to rise above others. Know that the nail that sticks out from the rest has to be pounded. Con Natalie Buholland, in a speech before the Grand Council. A new era among the clans began when Nicholas Kerensky died at the hands of Clan Widowmaker during the latter's trial refusal. I'm actually gonna zoom out a little. This is kind of jaggy. A new era among the clans began when Nicholas Kerensky died at the hands of Clan Widowmaker during the latter's trial refusal. Clan Wolf avenged his death by obliterating Widowmaker and erasing that clan from the records of clan society. But Kerensky's death also stripped the clans of the only leadership they had ever known. Clan Wolf destroyed what it could of Clan Widowmaker's assets and took the rest as Sorla, spoils of war, which vastly increased the Wolves' material wealth. This prompted yet another clash with Clan Jade Falcon, whose cons opposed Clan Wolf, gaining all Widowmaker's wealth. Though the Falcons applauded the Wolves' ferocity in avenging the death of their beloved leader, they claimed that Clan Widowmaker's assets should be divided equally among the clans. Their objection did not spring from an overdeveloped sense of fairness. Hold on. Maybe a little up. There we go. Their objection did not spring from an overdeveloped sense of fairness. The Falcons learned their rivals. The Falcons feared their rivals growing even more economically powerful, and their wealth giving them new importance in the Grand Council. If the Wolves became too powerful, other clans might begin throwing their support to Clan Wolf's dangerous liberal sentiments. The Clan Jade Falcon was fighting a losing battle and asking the Grand Council to flout Nicholas Kerensky's Senate. The spoils of battle belonged to the victor. The Grand Council roundly rejected the Falcons' petition to divide Widowmaker's assets among all the clans, and the Falcons' worst fears were realized. Clan Wolf rose to prominence as the most powerful clan, dominating the Grand Council with Clan Widowmaker's assets. Many conservative clans began looking to the Wolves and their Kerensky blood for guidance, and the most conservative clans, including Jade Falcon, Smoke Jaguar, and Star Rider, could not stem the tide. Though the clans had lost their great leader, they have come to call the decades following Nicholas's death the Golden Century. For those years saw the new society's greatest expansion and development. Tremendous leaps forward in scientific technology continue to reshape the clan. And probably also they didn't have Nicholas ruling over them with an iron fist. One of the most important developments were the artificial wombs that allowed scientists to routinely produce healthy human babies. This invention led to the Sibco system, whereby sibling companies of 20 children each were born from sperm and ova donated by heroic but anonymous warriors. Sibco training ensured that only the best became warriors, and the clan's warrior caste increased by leaps and bounds. That's what these are. The civilian sector of clan society expanded as science and technology unfolded. Exploration and commerce became the twin obsessions of the non-warrior caste, giving them a means to escape their strictly structured lives. A steadily increasing flow of raw materials from newly settled colonies in the Kerensky cluster boosted industry and raised the standard of living of every civilian. The resulting surge of civilian well-being had repercussions, however, particularly in Clan Jade Falcon. The Falcons followed the other clans' example at first, founding major colonies in the Kerensky cluster and stepping up production of transport jump ships to supply the colonies and bring back raw materials for the new and existing Falcon factories. Clan Jade Falcon leaders believed that this ambitious plan would help them keep up with the growing wealth and prestige of Clan Wolf. But Clan Jade Falcon failed to recognize the colonists' desire for fewer caste restrictions in order to better function as a pioneering community. To begin with, Clan Jade Falcon considered greater freedom for the lower castes a blasphemous idea. Even though other clans were temporarily easing the caste laws, disputes between the warriors and the other castes swept the Falcon colonies, and neither the caste councils nor the Grand Council could resolve them. One colony finally acted, requesting permission from the Grand Council to leave the Jade Falcons and merge with another clan, preferably Clan Wolf. The Jade Falcon leaders once again accused Clan Wolf of attempting to steal Falcon property. In an immediate and typical response, Clan Jade Falcon sent warriors to every Falcon colony, but the military bases, and disbanded them, killing those colonists who openly rebelled against the caste system. They sent the rest back to Falcon enclaves in the Pentagon and more developed cluster worlds, and scrapped or sold most of the Falcon civilian fleet to other clans. During the invasion of the Inner Sphere a century later, this lack of a civilian fleet seriously hampered Clan Jade Falcon's supply lines. The upheaval over the colonists occurred early in the Golden Century. Other clans believed that the Falcons had unnecessarily cut themselves off from a source of great wealth and would be forced to sit by and watch the other clans bring in shiploads of profit from their colonies. But several far-sighted members of the Falcon merchant class proved them wrong. They entered the then insignificant market of intercaste commerce as middlemen and bankers, becoming the pivot of the clan's economic boom. Sharp as the talons of a Falcon banker became a popular expression, as Falcon merchants revealed great skill and cunning in their chosen field of endeavor. The bankers. Instead of being hopelessly poor, Clan Jade Falcon held great economic power by the end of the Golden Century. Other clans acknowledged that power by paying more serious attention to the Falcon's conservative political views. Call to the Crusades. Suggesting that the clans will not one day return to Terra is akin to a man suggesting that the sun will not shine tomorrow, or that Clan Jade Falcon has forgotten the words of the great Ferenskis. Convander von Chistu in a speech for the Grand Council. The decades of expansion and growth changed the clans' attitude toward the Inner Sphere. Those who had followed General Kerensky from the Inner Sphere firmly believed that they did so voluntarily. They may have dreamed of returning, but the harsh reality of the Pentagon worlds made it clear that day would never come. Generations later, the common citizen lived in a society very different from those of the Inner Sphere. A social system that bound him, his children, and his children's children to a certain role in life. Perhaps it was in response to an unspoken feeling of discontent, especially among the lower castes, that clan lore masters created elaborate tales promising that future generations, made pure by clan society, would form an army of Prometheans to bring back the light of true civilization to the essentially good, but backward people of the Inner Sphere. That view eroded during the latter years of the Golden Century. What do they mean by the harsh reality of the Pentagon worlds, just simply because it was, like, so remote? The Pentagon worlds were so remote. That view eroded during the latter years of the Golden Century. Pity for their unenlightened Inner Sphere brethren gave way to contempt and anger. Generations of clansmen now believe that the leaders of the 5 great houses had forced General Kerensky to flee the Inner Sphere. Alexander Kerensky's decision to leave was no longer a completely selfless act. They believe he and his followers were suffering involuntary exile. Yeah, that's not true. This attitude spread throughout the clans. Even the lower castes began to consider the people of the Inner Sphere as cruel barbarians and deserved to be conquered by an obviously superior society. Well, I'm actually gonna crank the zoom a little bit. Interestingly enough, as the clans lost respect for their counterparts in the Inner Sphere, they began to believe that the worlds they had left behind were virtual paradises. Especially Terra and the worlds that made up the old Terran hegemony. Their lord made every planet into an Eden, an extraordinary combination of nature, climate, and resources. The clans began to question the justice of a universe in which barbarians occupied those blessed worlds, while they, the truly civilized, lived in exile on barely habitable planets. Of course. Yeah, I guess that's kind of one thing where it's like, it's a bit like Xeon from Gundam, where it's like they have it kind of okay, but like they know they could be doing better. One Jade Falcon warrior summed up the clan's general feeling. God showed us the door out of Eden, and held it open to let the devil and his followers in. All these gradual changes led the clans to believe that the time to retake what was rightfully theirs had come. Advocates for immediate action called themselves Crusaders. The ranks grew quickly as they rallied to support council and cast board members who believed as they did. They protested the Grand Council's refusal to open the question to debate. Oh, there's something sticking on this page. Okay, I can't get that off. The Grand Council remained officially neutral on the question, preferring to believe it was only a phase of public opinion. The Khans of Clan Wolf and Clan Coyote traditionally dominated the Grand Council, and the other Khans held too little power to force the issue against the United Front. Together, those four Khans represented the core of the Crusaders' opposition, calling themselves Wardens after a passage in Nicholas Kerensky's diary, saying it was the clan's role to ward the Inner Sphere from all outside forces until that time when the Star Leaguers were born. The Wardens held sway in the Grand Council for many years, but as moderate clans fell under the sway of growing public hysteria about returning to the Inner Sphere, that balance changed. The number of trials of Gruens fought over the question increased steadily, the number of resulting deaths alarming the Khans of all clans. By 2980, when Clan Jade Falcon successfully introduced the issue to the Grand Council for discussion, the question had become too pressing, too divisive to be ignored. Here we have presumably relevant art. Winds of change. Ugh. Because we adhere strictly to the words of Kerensky, all cast members, the least skilled laborer to the best warrior, hold only one opinion on the Crusader question. Connie von Hazen in a speech to the Grand Council. Doesn't really say when. Clan Jade Falcon never doubted that the Crusader view was right. The strict conservative adherence to Kerensky's word led them to conclude that now was the time to return to the Inner Sphere, and the Jade Falcon Khans demanded the Grand Council open the issue for discussion. They argued eloquently that the Kerenskys intended the clans to grow and prosper until they reach a size and strength sufficient to successfully re-establish the Star League among the uncivilized masses of the Inner Sphere. A point the Crusaders felt the clans had reached long ago. They supported their argument by reading long passages from the Kerensky's words with an almost evangelical fervor. Clan Jade Falcon and Clan Smoke Jaguar quickly took the lead in the Crusader movement. Spokespersons toured the Pentagon world, speaking to enthusiastic audiences. They spread their gospel of clan destiny to larger and larger crowds, and their fiery orations brought rallies to the brink of rioting. The clans of these speakers disavowed any intention to promote violence. Clans Wolf and Coyote seemed particularly hard hit by these huge, unruly gatherings. In addition to the popular quasi-religious reasons for invading the Inner Sphere, the Clan Jade Falcon had strong economic reasons. Their banking prowess continued to grow, and the Falcon Khans knew it was in their clan's best interest to open new markets. The number of worlds in the Kerensky cluster was sizable, but ultimately limited. Clan Jade Falcon saw the worlds of the Inner Sphere, most of which have never been exploited to their full potential as a financial motherlode. Oh my god! They're financialists slash capitalists! That's like all the clans operate off of a pseudo-socialist system, but the Falcons are particularly capitalist, I guess. They've got to have money. Alright. Okay, I think I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take a little break to walk the dog and rest my throat a bit. Ugh. This is surprisingly hard, man. I'm kind of enjoying myself so far, though. I actually want to do a redo of that Magic of Interactive Technology book. And like I said, next time if I do that, I'm going to like prepare DOSBox. I'm gonna have like everything set up because there's an interactive component to it. Oh shit. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust this camera a little. It's like Still a little cattywampus to my eyes. Or at least it'll never look right. Anyways, it is just nearly 3:20 p.m. I am gonna go take a walk. I'm gonna go take a break and walk the dog. Rest my throat a little. I'm ready to get some throat coat or something. Or maybe get a hot tea with honey. I don't think Gamer Subs is gonna really do much for me. Anyways, I'll be gone for like 20 minutes. Or 30 minutes, sorry. I'm a little brain fried. I'll be back around 30 minutes. I'll run a few more minutes of ads while I'm gone. It's time to get up, stretch, get water, etc. Oh, goodness. Good thing I'm doing a shorter stream, I guess. I'm feeling kind of tired. Anyways, well, I will take a moment to recuperate. BRB. Let me rewind the thing a little also. Alright, I'll BRB. I'm back. Sorry if that took me a little long. Let us resume. I've got about an hour left before I gotta wrap up stream. I've got some hot tea next to me. I'm feeling a lot better, I think. That's nice. It is hot apple cider flavor tea. Limited edition. I picked it up, like, right after Thanksgiving. It's nice. The Compromise. I do not trust the wolves, for they have proven themselves creatures of opportunity, of individualism, of lax morals, and of unforgivable disregard for our origin. Yet I respect them, for they are warriors. Bred true in accordance with our tradition. But to send the wolves as freeborn bastards to the inner sphere is folly heaped on folly. Fellow Khans, I swear upon my oath to Tarkina herself that once these lowborns are free of clan obedience, they will never willingly return. Khan von Hazen in a speech to the Grand Council during the Wolfstragoon's debates. Well, I guess she wasn't wrong. In the end. In an attempt to slow the Crusader juggernaut, the Warden faction agreed to a series of expeditions to the Inner Sphere, each more ambitious than the last, that would gather information about the current state of the Inner Sphere militaries and governments. Of these missions, the last was by far the most controversial. There were other explorations other than Wolfstragoons? And the year 3000. In the year 3000! Khan Curlin Ward of Clan Wolf presented a stunning plan to the Grand Council. He proposed that a force of clan warriors disguised as mercenaries infiltrate the Inner Sphere to gain first-hand information about each successor state's military. In a debate that followed, the Crusaders made it plain that they were already prepared to invade the Inner Sphere based on the information available. Khan Yvonne Hazen, the senior Khan of Jade Falcon, grumbled that at the rate the clans were moving, the Star League would be reborn just in time for the collapse of the universe. But the plan proved too logical for even the Crusaders to defeat, and the Grand Council voted to implement it. Khan Nadia Winson, chairperson of the Grand Council and a moderate warden, awarded Clan Wolf the right to draw up plans for the force, and 3 weeks later, Clan Wolf returned to the Grand Council with Wolfstragoons, a force of freeborn warriors and the clan's police clusters to be commanded by 2 freeborn brothers. There, we've got some art. We've got a bit of insert art. It is a summoner. It's from the old art. I wonder what that dangling thing on this other gun pod is supposed to be. No clue. Yeah, most of that salvo missed. The idea of freeborn warriors carrying out such an important mission infuriated Con Hazen, who accused Clan Wolf's Con Ward of deliberately assigning a force likely to fail and/or send back an inaccurate picture of the Inner Sphere's strength. Con Ward argued that even freeborn warriors must be superior to Inner Sphere soldiers, and pointed out that it made more sense to risk freeborns on this mission than trueborns, who would be needed for the actual invasion. Unconvinced, Con Hazen and the Cons of Clan Smoke Jaguar also questioned the freeborns' loyalty, making dire predictions of their eventual defection to the successor states. When they would inform the Five Houses of the clan's existence. This prediction, of course, would eventually prove true. The determined support of Con Winston, the Warden faction, and key neutral clans pushed the Dragoon's proposal through the Grand Council over the strenuous objections of clans Jade Falcon and Smoke Jaguar. Rystar Elias Kreikel. Kreichel? Krekel? Elias Kreichel. Let's go with that. In clan politics, success has to do more of... In clan politics, success has more to do with speed, persistence, and aggressiveness than with less important qualities such as intelligence, morality, and soul. Jeez. Probably not wrong, though. Con Elias Kreichel in conversation. Con and Von Hazen consider the Wolf's Dragoon's compromise a galling and bitter snub to common sense that demanded a response. She immediately decided to challenge Con Ward to a trial refusal. Before she could deliver the challenge, however, Galaxy Commander Elias Kreichel, her newest and most trusted advisor, diverted her anger. The aging ill Con, not to be confused with Ill Con. Con Hazen suffered arthritis from her many battle wounds. Those can give you arthritis? I guess they can, I don't know. The aging ill Con trusted the young Rystar officer above all others. She saw and appreciated his many qualities, including a voice like the cry of a proud falcon, eyes that could see the patterns beneath the brush, and a mind possessing a hurricane of possibilities. Elias was born and raised on Gatekeeper in the Red Fist communal birth facility, a second-rate Civco installation using parent gene combinations considered unlikely to produce warriors of importance. Hold on, I need to, like, shift this down. I need to shift this down and down. Or no, I just need to push the keyboard up. Oop. Way up, apparently. Okay, there. That's as far as I can push that keyboard up. Elias was born and raised on Gatekeeper and the Red Fist communal birth facility, a second-rate Civco installation using parent gene combinations considered unlikely to produce warriors of any importance. Indeed, the scientist cast viewed the Kreichel line as a particularly muddy gene pool, and the clan's condescending attitude toward any blood heritage but that of the Five Founders affected the young warrior's personality. Of his Civco, only Elias survived military training on Ironhold to become a mech warrior. The rest died or suffered crippling injuries. Rumors, admittedly from Wolf officers, suggest that Elias's victory over two Sibkin in his trial position was such that the judges spent several hours debating his worth as a warrior. Assigned to Peregrine Galaxy, Elias quickly demonstrated his capability in several duels and skirmishes with other clans. He exhibited particular skill at criticizing and antagonizing Clan Wolf, which he considered a collection of fat, pompous merchants who called themselves warriors. He won honor for his victory over a blood-named Wolf Warrior in a trial that settled a border dispute between the two clans. As admirable as his battlefield skills were, they paled in comparison to his political and oratory skills. From the very beginning of his career in the Falcon Tomb, Elias showed his political ambitions by currying favor with the clan's elite. He became Clan Jade Falcon's most fervent crusader. When the Crusader cause became more popular in other clans, Star Captain Elias gained notice as one of the movement's most sought-after speakers. He toured the clan worlds and spoke at every enclave, even those of the staunchest Warden clans, His orations appealed to the crowd's sense of history and destiny, and laid the blame for all their problems at the feet of his clan's opponents with a style that put the most proficient, muckraking, two-faced Inner Sphere politician to shame. Oh, jeez. Subtle. The Rush Limbaugh of his time, I guess. Con Hazen approved of Elias's barnstorming. Her advanced age and disabilities forced her to reflect on her successor as Senior Con. And though she approved of Con Sejanus Buhalan, her equal in everything but seniority, she considered him too politically naive to take the lead in the Crusader movement. Elias was eminently capable of pursuing Hazen's dreams for the Crusaders' triumph, but several serious obstacles stood in the way of his succession to Khan. His age, rank, lack of a blood name, and his lack of any ties to the bloodlines of the Jade Falcon founders. Khan Hazen could not change his age. But she awarded him the rank of Star Colonel in 3020. She then resigned her command of the Turkina Keshik, placing a new Star Colonel in command of that elite unit. A posting traditionally assigned to the clan's eventual leader. A year later, the new Star Colonel won his Critchell blood name. The appointment of so young a man to so prestigious post created immediate tensions between Elias Critchell and Con Sejanus Buchanan, who was equally ambitious. Soon the clan split into two factions, each bent on discrediting the leader of the other. Con Hazen recognized the tension between the two camps, but asserted that competition in all things was healthy. Yeah, that worked out so well for the Jade Falcons in the early years of the clans, didn't it? Most Dragoons finally tipped the scale in favor of the more conservative Falcons. Before the split, most Falcons agreed with Con Hazen and Star Colonel Elias's opinion that the Dragoons as freeborn warriors would eventually betray the clans. Elias and Janus Buhalan and a handful of supporters dared suggest that the information that the Dragoons related to the Grand Council be considered seriously. As the Third Succession War ground to a halt in the Inner Sphere, so too did the reports on the Dragoons. So that's when they stopped sending reports. While many clans reserved judgment on the scouting party, Elias Critchell and his faction within the Falcons launched a series of scathing attacks discrediting the Dragoons. They accused the Freeborns of going native, blamed Clan Wolf for their part in organizing the traitor unit, and condemned Con Sejanus Buhalan for trusting the Dragoons. The attack weakened Con Buhalan's position. Sensing an opportunity to advance his own cause, Elias issued a stream of accusations to the spokespersons of his faction, accusing Sejanus of closet warden sentiments and liberal attitudes towards freeborns. Sejanus was forced to challenge Elias to duels, challenges that Elias alternately ignored or referred to Con Hazen for advisement. Con Hazen eventually interceded to end the feud, but in so doing cast blame for the entire situation on Sejanus, stripping him of any remaining credibility and choosing Elias Critchell as a successor to lead Clan Jade Falcon. Several months later, Sejanus Buhalan died in a mech explosion. The official investigation blamed a freak ammunition feeder jam, but many believe that Sejanus allowed the accident to end his shame. Others believe Elias Critchell supporters staged the accident to lead the leader of his rival. Go vote. This day, fellow Khans, will be remembered years from now as the dawning of mankind's rebirth. No longer must these barbarian hordes suffer through the dark, violent night of their own folly. We are returning. We are the sun of righteousness that will illuminate those who dream of peace, and burn to ashes the demons and devils responsible for the darkness. On Elias Critchell in a speech before the Grand Council, November 3048. Despite the shame of the Dragoons' apparent defection, Clan Wolf and the other Warden clans held enough influence to stall debate on returning to the Inner Sphere until the opening actions of the Fourth Succession War, which allowed the Wardens to again postpone the invasion decision until the war ended and the clans could analyze the consequences. How'd they know about it? Well, hold on, if the Dragoons stopped sending reports, how the hell did the clans learn about the Fourth Succession War and the War of 3039? I don't know, but I just took a big swig of tea. The Grand Council records seem to imply that the Wardens used the Fourth Succession War and the War of 3039 that followed as arguments against invasion. They reasoned that the two wars proved that the Inner Sphere was not ready for a restored Star League. Invasion now of the Inner Sphere. Invasion now, with the Inner Sphere still so decisively split among the successor states, would force the clans to occupy the entire Inner Sphere, something they had neither the numbers nor the inclination to undertake. Yep. Clans Jade Falcon and Smoke Jaguar were countered by declaring their preparedness to conquer the entire Inner Sphere and force their will upon the vanquished. The majority of the council still felt deep reservations, however, and agreed to postpone the invasion issue. When Clan Smoke Jaguar captured our raw exploration vessel, Outbound Light, the invasion debate took a dramatic and final turn. Smoke Jaguar and Jade Falcon interrogators extracted a new and potentially threatening picture of the Inner Sphere from the minds of the ship's crew. The news of greatest importance was the alliance between the Lyran Commonwealth and the Federated Suns. This nearly complete merger placed more than half the Inner Sphere under one apparently stable government. Though threats existed against the Styron and Davian families, the rulers of the newly united realm, these efforts remained relatively disorganized. Their leaders inclined to bicker among themselves. Clan experts deduced, and rightly so, that the only way the new Federated Commonwealth could fail to become the Inner Sphere's preeminent power was if its leaders committed some grievous error, a possibility experience told them was very unlikely. In addition, the Inner Sphere had recently acquired the memory cores of several Star League-era computers, giving the entire region access to technology only slightly less advanced than that of the clans. These revelations shocked the Grand Council. The Inner Sphere's apparent position on the verge of disintegration was a lie. Far from being weak and simply waiting for the clans to step in and assume control, the Inner Sphere seemed on the verge of uniting and resurrecting the Star League without the clans' assistance. Incontrovertible evidence that the Inner Sphere could find its way to the clan homeworlds, together with the possibility of facing a united Inner Sphere equipped with Star League technology, forced many clans to reconsider their views. The arguments of Clan Wolf and Clan Coyote were dismissed in light of this new information. Borne upon a tidal wave of apprehension, the Crusaders once again petitioned the Grand Council to debate the invasion of the Inner Sphere, and this time they won. The Khans of Clan Smoke Jaguar and Khan Hazen and Khan Critchell, recently installed as Junior Khan, well, nowadays I guess we would know that as Sakan, of Clan Jade Falcon, played on the fears growing in the minds of the many neutral Khans. Their dire predictions, coupled with promises of great glory, proved no match for the Wardens, who tried but failed to allay the Grand Council's concerns. The Crusaders won by a landslide. Every clan except Clan Wolf voted to invade the Inner Sphere and paved the way for the Star League's rebirth. Damn! Clan Wolf, though divided internally between the Warden and Crusader factions, stood united to demand that the Grand Council grant them a trial of refusal. The fierce bidding among the clans for the honor of representing the Grand Council against Clan Wolf substantially reduced the odds, and the final trial pitted the third Wolf battle cluster against clusters from 4 clans. The Jade Falcons fielded the Gear Falcon Guards. The trial took place on Mars Field in Stronamekti, and was a much closer contest than the odds suggested. However, the sheer number and ferocity of the Grand Council forces, particularly that of the Falcon's Assault Cluster, carried the day. And they decimated the Wolf Cluster, much to the pleasure of Khan Elias Critchell and his aides. Khan Smoke Jaguar and Jade Falcon, riding high on their victory and newfound influence, persuaded the Grand Council to elect Khan Leo Showers of Clan Smoke Jaguar as El Khan. This decision met with some resistance among Jade Falcon warriors who believed Khan Hazen deserved the honor. Khan Hazen herself put an end to objections by announcing her retirement from the post of Senior Khan. Sorry for the sniff. Anyway, we've got some art. We've got... kinda hard to tell. Looks like we have a Mad Dog and a Timberwolf shooting at some mechs. I can't quite tell what they're shooting at, though. Maybe... yeah, I kinda can't tell what that's supposed to be. Something generic. That maybe looks like a catapult. Facing a weird direction. The new Olkan, eager to demonstrate his disdain for Clan Wolf, issued a recall order to Wolf's Dragoons, confident that few, if any, of the Freeborn forces would heed the recall and return to the clan worlds, and yeah, they didn't. Khan Elias Critchell. Success will depend on our devotion to the words of the great Kerenskis, and on how we manage to bid against the other clans for what little glory will be won in the Inner Sphere. Khan Elias Critchell addressed the Peregrine Galaxy. Ah. Oh man, that hot apple cider tea is really good. If you put a questionable amount of honey in there. Alright. Elias Critchel's official installation as leader of Clan Jade Falcon took place in a 3-day ceremony that began with a night-long vigil at the altar of the Hazen Cathedral, and ended when Con Hazen laid the Jade Falcon cloak upon his shoulders, as oaths of fealty from the caste leaders and every warrior rang in his ears. Con Hazen's retirement did not last long. Just 2 weeks after Con Critchel assumed control of Clan Jade Falcon, his aging mentor died in the cockpit of her mech, apparently of a self-induced drug overdose. Curious. Freed from many rivals to his command, Con Critchel began to assert his authority. His first move was to promote Galaxy Commander Timber Malthus to the position of Junior Con, or Sa-Con, and give him command of the prestigious Jade Falcon Galaxy. He then proceeded to shuffle the commands of most Falcon Galaxies in their trinaries, promoting those he knew were loyal to him and demoting those whose loyalty he doubted. While these staffing moves secured his position, they would later prove costly to Clan Jade Falcon's military effectiveness. Yeah, that's typically how political military purges tend to go. At least I would assume so. Con Critchel next began to strengthen the relationship between Clan Jade Falcon and the clan of the new Ilkhan, Smoke Jaguar. They exchanged lavish gifts of lands, material, and genetic materials. Con Critchel's machinations were so obvious that observers wondered sarcastically if the two leaders planned to merge their clans and perhaps name it Smoked Falcon. On internal issues, the Jade Falcon's new leader proved even more conservative than his predecessor. For example, he revoked most of the powers granted to the intercaste councils responsible for arbitrating disputes between the castes. When a subcaste of steelworkers objected to the loss of autonomy and staged a strike, he sent in police trinaries to hunt down and shoot the leaders. Yep. One explanation for Elias Critchel's ruthless conservatism claimed that he was at heart ashamed of his mediocre blood heritage, and overcompensated for fear he would be accused of not deserving his high rank, which, yeah, to be fair, he did have a pretty easy path to conship. He did have a relatively easy path to conship from the sound of it. Perhaps to justify his ruthless action in the strike, Con Critchel reinstated the Grace of Preeminence clause for his clan. Written by Nicholas Kerensky in collaboration with founder Lisa Puhalin, the rule gave all warriors legal power to act without the need to consult authorities, and to inflict punishment for offenses, real or imagined, including death sentences with almost no restraints. Oh my god. Yeah, that's martial law for you, I guess. Most other clans recognize the Grace Clause, a tool used only to ensure that the last vestiges of the rebellion that caused the Exodus Civil War were eliminated from clan society. That goal achieved, the clause was largely abandoned until Elias Critchel resurrected it to enforce Clan Jade Falcon's control of the lower castes. And here we come up to Operation Revival. I think I'll be able to get through 1 or 2 more pages. I thought I'd be faster, honestly. I honestly thought I'd be faster. Oh well. Our forces will use Operation Revival to attack in much the same way an unseen falcon strikes at a fat flying pigeon, with paralyzing surprise, undeniable momentum, and an unstoppable force. It will leave behind only a haze of blood and a flurry of feathers. So literally, speed, violence, momentum, sort of. Con Elias Critchel, in a speech to his commanding officers. Con Critchel became the Ilkhan's most trusted advisor because they shared a vision of the invasion. Together they crafted Operation Revival, a plan that would carve a deep gash through the inner sphere and seize Terra as its prize. Just had to take another swig of tea. Though the details changed slightly as the Grand Kurultai, or War Council, discussed Operation Revival, the plan survived virtually untouched. The operation's strategic objective was to conquer enough inner-sphere star systems to provide a secure base of operations from which to launch further assaults against the successor states. But even this goal appeared insignificant when the Khans agreed to a proposal put forth by Elias Critchell, basing his suggestion on passages from the Kerensky archives. Critchell proposed that the clan that conquered Terra become the Ill Clan, and that the Ill Clan's senior Khan would automatically become the Ill Khan. He further proposed, in accordance with those same writings, that the Ill Clan assume control of the Free Guilds, which are the merchants, techs, scientists, and other lower castes whose affiliation is to clan society and not to one clan. Every clan eagerly accepted the challenge. And what they felt was their coup de grace, Crusader leaders deciding that the most fitting punishment for Clan Wolf's persistent opposition to the clan dream of returning to the Inner Sphere was to include them in the invasion. The simple invasion plan reflected the clan expectation that they would encounter minimal organized opposition in the Inner Sphere. 4 clans would assault 4 separate corridors along a route that would slice the Free Rossalog Republic, the Federated Commonwealth, and the Draconis Combine. All 4 corridors ended on Terra, the final and most important invasion objective. Excuse me. Every clan participated in the trials to determine which would be allowed to join the invasion. Special rules limited the trial forces to 3 trinaries per clan to prevent excessive bloodshed, ensuring that no clan would risk so much to win a position in the invasion that would have insufficient forces to fight it effectively. Because Clan Wolf was required to participate, it officiated the trials to choose the remaining 3. To no one's surprise, both Clan Jade Falcon and Clan Smoke Jaguar won positions. Ghost Bear, another strong Crusader clan, won the final main position. A second set of trials determined which clan would use which corridor. Alpha and Delta corridors lay through the Federated Commonwealth and the Draconis Combine, the 2 most powerful militaries in the Inner Sphere, and afforded the greatest opportunity for glory. The Old Khan assigned Clan Wolf to Beta Corridor, another not-so-subtle insult to their warden sensibilities. Clan Jade Falcon won the honor of Alpha Corridor, prompting Khan Critchell to order a week-long festival celebration in all Falcon enclaves. That the festival took place just 2 short weeks before the invasion force assembled to jump for the Inner Sphere indicates just how little concern the clan felt about what lay ahead. While Clan Wolf doggedly prepared for the worst, struggling to rebuild its decimated 3rd Battalion, the Jade Falcons assumed that their Inner Sphere enemies would offer only uncoordinated resistance, simply ignoring what might happen beyond the first wave of the invasion. Not all Jade Falcons shared that attitude. Commander Jessica Buholland of Yoda Galaxy and Logistics Overseer Tanner Calbut considered the amount of supplies Khan Critchell requested for the Falcon Tomb inadequate, and shook their heads at the Khan's proposed disposition of supplies and projected rate of use. They realized that the Khan and his advisors saw the coming invasion as little more than a series of trial-like encounters, and planned fewer or no reserves to supply the galaxies, should the enemy offer more than token resistance. Buholland and Talbot also recognized that the Falcon's stubborn neglect of exploration meant that the clan would not have enough military and commercial transports to move even the meager scheduled amount of supplies in a timely fashion. Khan Critchell brushed these concerns aside, simply refusing to transport materiel he was convinced would never be used. It would make better sense to bring empty transports along and ferry our winnings back to our enclaves. A lot of hubris. A lot of hubris, if you know what happens next. He acknowledged their worries, only so far as to order Falcon Bakers to contract a few extra transports from the Free Guilds. The Free Guilds, in return for the Falcons' long-standing disdain for their caste, charged that clan extraordinarily high fees for each ship, while giving the other invasion clans a far more reasonable rate. The rank-and-file warriors shared Khan Critchell's attitude toward the invasion. Most expected to see little more action than a glimpse of the enemy's backside as they ran away. General anticipation flourished among Clan Jade Falcon's lower castes, and many dreamed of soon traveling to the Inner Sphere among the first settlers. In June of 3049, the ships of the clan invasion made their first jump toward the Inner Sphere. The clan's exile was nearly over. and they look forward to returning home bearing the riches and wonders of the inner sphere. One second, just gonna finish my tea and put the mug off to the side. Ah, so good. And all that honey will probably help my throat. Probably. I'm a little bit warm though. Periphery action. By Kerensky's heart, the computers in first-level mech simulators are worthier opponents than these barbarians. Comment of a Jade Falcon warrior after action on the periphery world of Last Chance. The first inhabited worlds of the clans encounter on their sweep toward the inner sphere were small colonies on the dim outskirts of the periphery that rings the inner sphere. These worlds and their tiny populations offered little or no opposition to the clan forces that suddenly appeared on their soil. Their only defense were errants, individual warriors hired to protect the inhabitants in the same way that the lawmen of the North American West and master swordsmen in the ancient Orient protected communities. While some errants were skilled fighters, the overall condition of their weapon was so poor that the outcome of most of their duels against clan warriors were a foregone conclusion. One exception for Clan Jade Falcon came on a lonely hunk of grassed over rock called Twilight, 2 jumps outside the Oberon Confederation. Jade Falcon forces approached the planet using what they refer to as an indoctrination sweep, sending forces in the Gear Falcon Galaxy to provide a show of force. Stars of mechs and elementals paraded through the center of every village, using bullhorn sounds like plants absorption in the Jade Falcon Sphere of Clan Prosperity. Oh my god. The terror resulting from such sweeps usually served to quell any opposition. The Falcon Light mech star that strode through the clustered buildings of a small Buddhist monastery in Twilight received a shock. That monkish community counted among its members Sarah Katrin, a highly admired battalion commander and one of the Draconis Combine's elite Sword of Light regiments, and an honored mech instructor. Her wish to find inner peace following her retirement from active duty with the Combine military took Katrin to many worlds and an equal number of monasteries. She always traveled with self-deception, the mech awarded to her by the grateful Kurita family. I was honored to meet her during her days of wandering, and was impressed by her skills and good humor. Oh right, I guess this is written from the perspective of Anastasia's folk, who... Yeah, he also spent some years in a Kuritan monastery before joining Comstar. If you know, you know. The warriors of Gear Falcon Galaxy, puzzled because the monks did not run in terror at their approach and showed even less emotion at the destruction of their temple. Wow. The Gear Falcon Galaxy resorted to torturing the monastery's abbot in an effort to provoke a reaction. Jeez. Wait, there's abbots in Buddhism? I guess maybe they're called something else. I guess they're called something else. I don't even know what an abbot is. I guess that's like the guy who runs the monastery. I don't know. At this outrage, the 59-year-old Sarah threw off her robes, strode up to the Star Commander's mech, and delivered a personal challenge in the time-honored Combine tradition, her gray hair trailing behind her in the wind and smoke. Star Commander Brigand of the 2nd Falcon Striker Cluster laughed, but accepted her challenge. As I watched the tapes of the fight between Brigand and his Uller A, and Katrin and her Phoenix Hawk, I understood why it raised some Falcon Warrior eyebrows. Katrin, though long out of practice, managed to stay out of danger long enough to regain her confidence. Brigand, momentarily surprised by his opponent's skill, approached her more cautiously than was wise, giving Katrin even more time to reorient herself. Katrin warmed up in mid-battle, using a flurry of attacks of her paws to search for a weakness in the Uller's armor and armament. She found precious few, and was almost defeated when Brigand counterattacked with several volleys from his Gauss cannon that forced Katrin to shift quickly to avoid a direct hit. Despite her considerable skill, she lost whole sections of armor, ran up her mech heat, and most damning, lost all her lasers. But she was not unarmed. Let me guess, she lost both her arms. But she was not unarmed. Katrin still managed to disable her opponent's left leg by rushing in, leveling a wicked kick at the outside of the Yoler's knee, causing it to buckle momentarily and freeze. Katrin, rapidly running out of options with her mech barely hanging together, ended the battle with a flare typical of her entire career. She jetted her Phoenix Hawk high above the Uller and crashed down, targeting the Hawk's legs at the Uller's cockpit. A panic twist of the Uller's shoulders saved Star Commander Brigand, and Katrin's Phoenix Hawk crashed to the ground, its legs useless. The former battalion commander gave no quarter and asked none. Star Commander Brigand lived up to her expectations, quickly hobbling over to his opponent, repeatedly firing his left arm lasers in the Phoenix Hawk's cockpit. The sickening moment seemed worse because few clan warriors appeared disturbed by the sight of Brigand reaching into the cockpit, ripping out the corpse of Sarah Katrin, and holding it triumphantly aloft. Jeez. When I discussed the tapes and the Falcon Warriors' reactions with several warriors from Clan Wolf, I was startled to learn that they had often seen such macabre celebrations. The story you're telling me, it's macabre. One warrior even admitted to behaving in a similar fashion. She described a battle against a member of the bandit caste who, after being defeated by the clan warrior, taunted her by announcing with his dying breath that she had almost been undone by an old freeborn, an insult that apparently deserved a similar bloody demonstration of clan warrior superiority. Oh, here we go. The Barony of Strang. I, the Baron of Strang, care not for your new names. Clans? Jade Falcons? I call you by your true name. Scum of the Star League, traitors of free will, persecutors of the periphery come back to lord it over freedom-loving people. Come ahead, you steel-eyed robots. Come ahead and taste what a million like-minded people think of you and your damn clans. Baron Stepan von Strang, in reply to the Jade Falcon challenge. Because the periphery worlds on the clan invasion path did not lie within the 4 assault corridors, each clan could bid for the honor of invading any of those worlds. Von Strang's world prompted the fiercest bidding of all for 2 reasons. The clans looked upon this world as their first challenge. A regiment of mechs defended the planet, and an extensive network of defensive positions surrounded Amara City, the planet's capital and only major city. Amaris City. Amaris. Hester provided the second reason for their intense interest. The Von Strang name is infamous to the clans, and indeed any student of the Amaris coup. The tall, gaunt, and thoroughly evil Colonel Gunther von Strang, reviled as Vampire von Strang, commanded the despised 18th Amaris Chasseurs, known as the Death's Head Regiment. Oh boy. Stefan Amaris gave von Strang and his sadistic soldiers administrative control over the northeastern section of the North American continents, to hold and exploit as von Strang saw fit. The roles with which von Strang and his troops stripped the cities of goods, killed countless citizens for perverted thrills, and deprived the survivors of even the most basic rights, quickly made them the most hated of all Amaris units. General von Strang and the 18th met a bitter, violent end during the last days of the fight to liberate Terra, when units from Kerensky's 146th Royal Battlemech Division, the George S. Patton Division, crushed the 18th as it attempted to flee Terra through the LaGuardia spaceport. When the clans discovered a world apparently named for Vampire von Strang, every Khan wanted revenge of the vampire's descendants. Clan Jade Falcon won the bidding, and Khan Elias Critchell immediately announced that he would lead the Turkina Keshik personally on the assault to rid humanity of that accursed name. The faint hope of actually facing a descendant of Vampire von Strang became reality when Khan Critchell issued his patrol, the traditional demand for information about a planet's defending forces. Stepan von Strang, the planet's young leader and direct inheritor of the von Strang name, replied with threats and curses. The young Periphery Lord recognized the threat to his domain. Like his father and grandfather, he grew up despising the Star League and the way it had run roughshod over the Periphery. When he saw the warships arrayed around his planet, his instinctive hatred of anything associated with the Star League prompted an amazing leap of intuition. He knew he was facing the children of Kerensky's exodus. Man, he had him pegged. Once von Strang made it clear that he would recognize no rules, the Turkina Keshik dropships began burning into the atmosphere toward a landing zone on the plain of the Rimworld Republic, north of Amaris City. Yeah, so like, if it's not obvious, like, yeah, the barony of String is one of the successor. It's one of the sort of descendant states of the former Rimworld's Republic. Well, was. Von String's determined aerospace fighters met them above the planet, ignoring the escorting clan fighters to attack the dropships and attempt to disable them. But Von String's forces outclassed, and clan firepower slapped them from the skies. Once on the ground, the Turkina Keshik encountered more formidable opposition. The approaches to Mera City boasted heavy fortifications, a system of bristling turrets interconnected by tunnels. Though less effective than Star League-era fortifications, they served to slow the Keshik's advance. Only after 2 points of elementals found access to the tunnels, it began a brutal corridor-to-corridor sweep did the gun turrets grow silent. Then the mechs and tanks of Von String's Guard Division began a series of attempted ambushes in the valley's cul-de-sacs. Though they seldom caused more than minor damage to the clan forces, they too slowed the Falcons' advance. The clan warriors emerged through the pass to a twilight view of the Mera City entrenchments, a view quickly obscured by a fierce storm filled with furious lightning strikes. It was becoming harder by the minute to see Khan Critchel's target. Khan Critchel ordered the Keshik ahead at flank speed as planned, but sent a flight of fighters loaded with IR, electrical, and other sensing devices to scout the terrain. This proved to be a wise decision. Von String hid the bulk of the Guard Division in a complex of underground garages, hoping that the clan's faith in their superior equipment would lead them to risk a nighttime assault. The clans took the bait. They fought their way through the ring of entrenchments and fortifications, depending on elemental engineers to scout ahead, and entered the heart of the city. As the clan warriors reached Von String's palace, the guard mechs moved out to attack from the rear. The Falcon forces were unaware of their danger until a clan fighter, just seconds from returning for refueling, spotted the guards and sounded the alarm. Khan Critchel wheeled his forces to face the threat, and the two sides collided, fighting fiercely for an hour in the raging thunderstorm. Von String's forces, though determined and reasonably skilled, found themselves outclassed by the Turkina Keshik's superior technology. Even though the odds favored the periphery forces, they could not find any weaknesses in the clan's tactics and weaponry to exploit. Von String's forces hesitated for a moment when they realized that the clans were apparently invulnerable, and the elementals took advantage of that moment to swarm over the guard mechs like piranhas on a drowning cow. Baron Von String's Battlemaster finally fell to Khan Critchel's Thor, and the Khan paraded around the palace with the Baron's body in the fist of his mech. In the hand of his Thor? Or was he piloting the former Baron's Battlemaster? I don't know. Maybe he somehow added a hand onto his summoner. I guess he could have just done that. Von String's few remaining forces attempted to break contact and slip away in the night, but the Falcons hunted them down and killed them. They also killed those who surrendered and begged for mercy. Yep. That's clanners for you. The Keshik crushed the few remaining pockets of resistance by dawn, and I mean, to be fair, these might as well have just been Rimworlders to the clans. The Keshik crushed the few remaining pockets of resistance by dawn, and Khan Critchel officially renamed Mera City as Unity City in honor of the former capital of the Star League. As an added reminder of who was in charge, the Khan ordered the body of Baron Stepan von String hoisted up the flagpole to dangle just below the banners of the Star League and of Clan Jade Falcon, until it putrefied and fell to the ground. Ugh. Legend says that the body fell on the day Comstar won Tukayid, and that as it fell, people heard Stepan von String's howling laughter in the wind. Conquest of the Periphery. It was an aberration. A quirk, the exception that proves the rule and nothing more, I assure you. Star Captain Jin Buhalan, in a report to the Kurultai concerning the battle for Von String's world. The fight of Von String's world gave Khan Critchel a rude awakening, even though the Falcons suffered minimal losses. Defenders' fierce resistance and devious tactics contradicted their previous periphery experience, but if this caused the Falcons any concern about facing the much stronger Federated Commonwealth in the upcoming campaign, they submerged those concerns beneath their typical arrogance. Khan Critchel dismissed the fierce intensity of the battle as a factor of the thunderstorm, which degraded everyone's ability to find the enemy, rather than acknowledge the skill of Von String's warriors. His Keswick fully supported his view, chalking up the fight to a fluke. The Khan and his advisors nonetheless suppressed the particulars of the battle, especially just how near the Keswick came to being taken unaware, restricting the most revealing records and providing only general information to the other clans. Twice aboard, Clan Jade Falcon battled substantial enemy mech forces, facing the 2nd and 3rd mech battalions of Red Jack Ryan's regiment on the worlds of Last Chance and Gutter Damerung. The Jade Falcons first met Ryan's forces in an encounter on Last Chance during the first week of September. Alpha and Bravo Triners of the 3rd Assault Cluster handily defeated Ryan's 2nd Battalion. When the periphery units attempted to retreat off-world, Falcon fighters prevented their escape, and they surrendered. Clan warriors bonded most of those captured, imprisoned some, and executed the rest. On Gutter Damerung, the Falcons faced Ryan's 3rd Battalion. This time, the defenders put up a better fight. It took 2 Triners of Gear Falcon Galaxy to corner and destroy the battalion on the rock-strewn floor of the Bishop Crater. Both these victories took place after Clan Wolf's encounter with the remainder of Red Jack Ryan's forces and the units in the Calhounds on the asteroid called the Rock. Their opponent's skill impressed Clan Wolf. Their opponents' skill impressed Clan Wolf, especially that of the Calhounds, who were in the area hunting for Ryan's forces. Wolf Clan's Colonel Kerensky distributed tapes of the skirmishes to the other clans, pointing them as proof that the coming for the Innisphere could be more challenging than anticipated. But the ease with which the Falcons destroyed the rest of Ryan's regiment contradicted Ulrich's assessment. Did they have his name by then? Yes, he was Khan by then. The Falcon and Smoke Jaguar Khans brushed aside Khan Ulrich's warnings and renewed their charges against him with persistent doomsaying and reluctance to carry out the Grand Council's wishes. The last periphery world fell to the clans near the end of 3049, and the invaders spent the last 2 months of that year consolidating their holdings by ferrying in a minimal civilian force to establish basic services and to stockpile supplies. Khan Quijal ordered most Falcon supplies unloaded on the planet Lakov to free up as much space on his jump ships as possible for the coming wave of attacks against the Federated Commonwealth. Ilkhan Leo Showers convened a Grand Kurultai on February 18th, on the 18th of February 3050, aboard the Direwolf, the Clan Wolf flagship. His opening speech to the gathered Khans and their command staffs praised their efforts and predicted a bright future for the invasion, especially with the battles fought thus far any indication of the Inner Sphere's strength. We can only guess at whether or not Khan Critchell and his staff grew uneasy at the old Khan's words, considering just how hard they had fought on Von Strang's world. We know for a fact, however, that the Falcons used the results of this meeting to review and slightly revise the first wave invasion plan. The clans also discussed Comstar during the Kurultai. During the previous month, our Blessed Order made its first official contact with the clans. Seeing an opportunity to spread our message and gain greater influence in the Inner Sphere, Primus Waterly allied our order with the clans. According to the final terms of the alliance, Comstar agreed to provide the clans detailed information about worlds they plan to invade. In return, Comstar will receive at least nominal control over the populations of the conquered worlds. Though Clan Jade Falcon trusted the Ilkhan to further the clan's cause with any negotiations he undertook, many within that clan felt uncomfortable with the arrangement with Comstar. This faction included Khan Critchell, questioned the wisdom of trusting an Inner Sphere organization on so little information and no guarantee of its intentions. The Falcons hesitated even when reminded of the unexpected allies prophesied by the Great Kerenskys. Privately, Khan Critchell considered our Blessed Order just another perverted barbarian organization undeserving of an iota of trust. I believe I must shoulder some of the blame for this ill will. I met Khan Critchell during my initial contact with the clans, and though the man and his senior officers impressed me, I disliked him. I still do not fully understand my unreasoned wariness of Khan Critchell, but he and his officers obviously sensed it and responded in kind, even though we exchanged easy pleasantries. Khan Critchell's feelings toward Comstar and myself spread throughout his clan, and severely strained the already tense relations between our representatives and the clans. On worlds in the JFOZ, Jade Falcon Occupation Zone particularly, members of our military suffered close scrutiny. Harassment of our troops, whether ordered by Falcon commanders or spontaneous, became commonplace and sometimes led to tragedy. This general distrust prompted the Falcon hierarchy to station extra forces on their conquered worlds just to keep an eye on Comstar, a policy that proved to be a poor use of troops that they would need later in their assault. Okay. That's a bit of a weird place to stop, but I think I need to stop. Really interesting so far, though, I will say. I like this. I like doing this. We'll continue this some other day, I think. Anyways, I am gonna go wrap up here. Thank you all for coming by, whoever did. You know, if you're lurking, that's perfectly fine. I hope I've been doing the reading good enough to entertain. To be entertaining. Let me turn off this music and go to here. Alright. Once again, thank you everyone for coming. I think we'll pick this back up some other time. Not sure when, though. I would like to get back to gaming. Let me move this camera out of the way. Ooh, and get the cord with it. Hold on. One moment, please. Forgive me. Oh shit, this is a little tricky. Okay. Oh, yeah, my hand cam setup still needs some work, I think, but it's not too bad. Anyways, I will see you guys next time. I'm gonna go see a movie tonight. I gotta drive over there, so it's gonna take me a little while. I'm also gonna go prepare this VOD and, upload to YouTube. Oh, hey there, Ghost. What movie? I am watching a double feature. It is Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans, Urder Hunt, and Gundam Wing Endless Waltz, which, has been remastered in 4K, it would seem, which is pretty cool. Anyways, yeah, once again, thank you all for coming by. I am going to go find someone to raid. I've got some stuff to take care of off stream. I gotta leave. Wish Eric could get stuff like that in. Oh, it's not available. Oh, you don't get like any of like the cool cinema stuff with like Fathom events or whatever. Anyways, let's go find someone to raid. Who should we say hi to? God, I gotta take this long sleeves off. Bumfuck nowhere, Pennsylvania. Ooh. Uh, I think I might go raid Jean Famous. She has quite the stream title right now. Anyways, I know I say it a bunch, but you know, once again, thank you to everyone who's tuned in, said hi, or whatever. You know, if you've lurked, that's also fine. Next stream, we'll be continuing Red Alert 3 with Flanky Lad. We're gonna be moving on to the Empire of the Rising Sun campaign. That should be interesting. It will be maybe slightly late, but we can find. I have plenty of things to kill time with if it comes to that. But right now I gotta get going. Let's go raid Jean Famous. Just give me a second here to type it in. Oh. Alright. Once again, I'll see you guys on Sunday. Things are getting a little busy around where I am, but it'll be fine soon, probably. Man, I'm like a little stun-locked by what I'm seeing on Jean's stream, Jets' stream. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.